for him?
They are. I mean, there's nothing loaded, but they are down.
Okay.
We do a lot of shooting. We do a lot of deer hunting. He shot his first deer this year.
His 14-year-old son, Colt Gray, is due in court today, charged with first-degree murder. President Biden's son, Hunter, pulled off a surprise in federal court, pleading guilty to tax evasion just before jury selection. Hunter Biden's attorney, Abby Lowell, says,
to protect those he loves from unnecessary hurt and cruel humiliation.
Alleging prosecutors intended to exploit his family's pain, citing the 54-year-old's Delaware trial where he was convicted of 3 gun felonies in June. The president's son initially pled not guilty to the 9 charges in L.A. related to a failure to pay $1.4 million in taxes between 2016 and 2019.
That's Fox's Kristen Goodwin. Hunter Biden's gun conviction sentencing is November 13th. December 16th for the tax case. President Biden has said he will not pardon his son. After replacing the president in the White House race, Vice President Harris and Democrats raised $361 million last month. That's well over double former President Trump's $130 million in August fundraising. America's listening to Fox News.
NYPD officer Jonathan Diller's tragic story made national headlines this year. Now, Jonathan was shot and killed by a career criminal during a traffic stop. Jonathan, who is just 31 years old, leaves behind his wife Stephanie and 1-year-old son Ryan. Now, nothing will ever replace the loss of a husband and a father, but the Tunnel to Towers Foundation was able to pay off the mortgage on the Diller family's home. Please commit to $11 a month. Go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
I'm going to let you in on a wireless hack that can cut your cell phone bill in half. Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile want you to believe you need unlimited data. Fact is, most people don't. Pure Talk only charges you for data you need. For just $25 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data, plus mobile hotspot. Stop overpaying for wireless. Dial pound 250 and say Pure Talk to switch easily. And save 50% off your first month with Pure Talk.
The Morning Extra, only on Extra 106.3.
Morning, y'all. We made it to Friday. This short week, I got to tell you, the first half of the short week was like blazing fast. And then the last 2 days have eased on by like the southern wind.
Yeah.
Slow and easy and gentle. But I'm glad it's Friday. Buddy,
apparently I am too. Jeez.
Buddy, you all right?
I don't know, man. I've been my voice has been really weird lately. I don't know. I'm okay though. I didn't choke. I'm okay.
That's good, man.
Have the paddles ready, Joe,
That's
just
right.
in case.
That's right. Get the defibrillator. I think it's in the hall. Somebody get the instruction.
We don't have one. We should. We're like a bunch of old men running around. We got the sports guys. Do we have one somewhere? We have
I'm
to.
sure we do. I think it's required, isn't it, by law to have a defibrillator somewhere? It's probably on the second floor.
We got Kimmer too. We got to be ready.
Oh my God, they need to move it up from the second floor.
They should put it in the studio.
Yeah, they should. Yes, Rhino's not wrong about that. Yeah, just worst come to worst, we'd knock that camera down off the wall there and
pull the wires
out and right there, maybe into the neck. I don't know if that'll work, but I've seen it on.
It'd be fun to try though.
I've seen it on Saturday Night Live skits, and it worked there. So maybe. So NFL kicked off last night. Chiefs got a big win. Everybody's happy about that, I assume.
I didn't care.
Well, you said yesterday you couldn't wait to watch.
Yeah, no,
make up your mind.
I wanted to watch, and I was excited, but I ended up driving too long. So by the time I got home, I laid down, and I was in bed by 8:30, so I never really got to see it. But, I want to watch football. I don't care who wins unless it's the Jets and the Falcons. Those are the only 2 teams I really root for. Otherwise, I could care less whether the Chiefs win, the Ravens win.
Your guy's back, though, the Jets quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, right?
Aaron Rodgers, yeah. We'll see how long that one lasts.
See, get him to defibrillator. Probably going to need that a little bit. Los, what did you think about the game?
Man, I enjoyed it. I watched all of it. Yeah, it's you got the defending champions. You have the rematch of the AFC Championship game. It was fun. You're seeing 2 of the very best young quarterbacks in the league. They're both got a couple of MVPs to their name, so it was cool. It was appointment television for me last night.
There you go. You got the Starliner returning home today. This is the rocket that's been, the Boeing put up at the International Space. It took those astronauts, those spacewalkers up there, and couldn't get them home. So they're going to have that thing undock, and it's going to come home by itself.
By itself.
Yeah.
Good luck to it.
What do you think is the possibility that it makes it through the atmosphere without just, completely?
Slim to none.
I think so, too. That's exactly what I think, Rhino.
They can't keep the doors on their Boeings down on Earth.
That's right. What makes you think the one coming from outer space is going to do well?
Just think about that. It's coming from a space. The regular ones don't work that well to start with.
I got to tell you, and these poor astronauts, they don't get to come home until February when Elon's Dragon goes and picks them up. February. They've been up there like 8 months. They're supposed to go for a week. They've been there 8 months. God almighty.
I can't imagine.
How do you make plans?
It's not like, hey, we're stuck. You want to go to the beach?
Yes. That's
You're like
exactly
just
right.
stuck in a tube. A toothpaste tube, basically.
That's exactly right, Los.
No.
I mean, imagine that.
Ugh.
Carlos, you're like, honey, I'll be home. I've got a little work trip I got to go on, and I'll be home in a week. And maybe I got to go out to the West Coast, whatever it is. I'm going to probably not take a Boeing flight out there, but, maybe a different flight. And you get out there, and you're like, well, honey, I can't come home for the next 8 months.
What a different time we're living in, where if this had been maybe 20 or 30 years ago, I know definitely 40 or 50 years ago, it would have been every night checking in on what are we going to do with the stranded astronauts and how are we going to get them home? Instead, we check in like once a week. We're like, are y'all still up there? Okay.
Nobody even knows their names.
Yeah.
No one has any idea what these people's names are. They're just stuck in space. And this is literally like the start of a sci-fi movie. Like you get stuck in space and now the two will
Have y'all ever seen the movie The Martian?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like Matt Damon being stuck on Mars and making potatoes out of his poop.
Yes.
Oh,
like,
God. Are you serious? That's what the movie's about?
Yeah.
Well, but in that movie, it became this international crusade to bring him home, and it was all over the news, and America and China and the rest of the world were all united together to try and bring this astronaut home, and we're sitting there going like, well, maybe Elon will help you.
No, I can tell you, Rhino hit the nail on the head when he said nobody knows these people's name. I mean,
I don't.
So I've been reading about it just because I've been fascinated, and I couldn't remember either. No. I literally just pulled it up. It's astronauts Barry, Butch, Wilmore, and Sunita Sonny Williams.
Yeah.
Those are the two astronauts. I bet I could have put a gun to each and one of your heads and said, if you don't know their answers, don't know the names, I'm going to pull the trigger. And everybody would have been shot dead.
And I actually watched some of the video of them talking and what's going on up there. I've read the articles. Still couldn't remember their names.
No, I know.
I feel awful about it. Well, we should be caring about these two poor people who are stuck up there due to our government's lack of ability to get them home.
And the billions.
But, I guess Biden-Harris, we know they can't get people home.
No, they can't do that. Good Lord, what a mess that is. The mail-in ballots, some of the ballots go out in North Carolina today, too. So how about that? We've not had the debate. People are choosing between presidential candidates with no debate. There's no policy. Kamala Harris has released no policy. And everything she has said has been, sounding socialist or communist. So
or copied
or completely copied. It's a great point. Yes, or completely copied. So I don't know how you make a wise decision, Rhino, about that.
Well, I think what you're going to do is wait until after Tuesday, after you see the debate, right? No, probably not. Most of the people have already made their decision on who they're going to vote. Look, the honest truth is whether or not you're a Democrat or Republican, if I were to get a mail-in ballot today, I'd vote for Donald Trump today, only because of policy. People who are voting for Kamala Harris aren't voting for her because of her policy. They're voting for her because she's not Trump. They're voting for her because they believe in a message of joy and happiness. In reality, they'll be sorry with their pick. They don't see the writing on the wall. They can't see ahead of what she is telling them they are going to do and how that's going to affect them.
At least we're fortunate in that a lot of states, notably here, notably in Pennsylvania, the early voting for them starts basically mid-October. So we are going to get a debate in there, and then we're going to see where everything kind of plays out. So a lot of people are going to get the benefit of basically about 40 days before the opportunity to start early voting. And I'll be one of those people. When we're 2 weeks out from the actual election and it's time to early vote, I'll be like day one early voting.
I gotta tell you, man, I think everybody has made up their mind. I think there's probably 5%, if that much, that haven't made up their mind. Do y'all see it that way? Because I don't know a soul. There's not a soul I know or communicate with at work or at home that doesn't know who they're voting for. I don't know anybody.
No, and part of that is Donald Trump was president before, so they already know who Donald Trump is. Or like him or hate him, they know exactly who he is. Kamala Harris, she's the incumbent in this race. She's the one who destroyed this country along with Joe Biden. She's the one who has given us no policies, has opened up the border, has destroyed this economy, and continues to work to destroy this country. So people already know who she is as well. Now, of course, I was very partisan there in my description, but that's what people are thinking. So, but there are other people who say, "Oh, she is going to give us a look forward. She's bringing us joy. She's going to bring us communism and price controls and free homes and all those good things." So I want to vote for her. Not me personally.
No. There was no mistaking your position. Now you're very clear.
Yeah, you sure?
Yes, you're a Democrat hat.
Exactly. I don't think anybody's going to be confused by that, or anybody that listens to the show ever would be confused about which way we're going.
Did you hear this morning that Rhino is going to vote for Kamala?
He's changed his position altogether. He's going down a new path.
I just don't want to work anymore. You know, I figured she'd just give me everything. Yes. I can stay home.
That's what she says.
He's being influenced by the Russians.
It has to be. It has to be. And another thing about that,
I wish I could use that $100,000 a week.
No kidding. And the funny thing is, all those people were going to speak the way they spoke, were going to tweet the way they tweeted, and talk about the things that they were talking about. So it doesn't matter if they got paid money or not. Right? It's not like the message changed.
Right.
So
I don't think anybody's accusing me of like election interference or interfering in election because my Twitter is every day about Trump. Yeah. If someone were paying me $100,000 and I kept tweeting the same thing, now all of a sudden I'm trying to influence an election, get out of here with that.
Well, something we covered yesterday was the Department of Justice. Basically, with Merrick Garland, most notably holding a press conference and saying the Russians are paying for these commentators to talk about how good Russia is and influence the election. It was the Dave Rubin's world, Benny Johnson's, Tim Cass with Tim Pool, and they're all looking around going, yeah, I didn't get a dime, or if they paid me, it didn't change anything that I'm doing. But I'm right there with you. If Russia needs me to go ahead and say anything for $100,000 a week, I am ready, comrade.
Me too, comrade.
But the thing, it'd be different if you did like what you were pretending to do, right? Rhino flip-flop this morning and went a different direction. You'd be like, okay, wait a minute. You did something different than you normally do and got paid for it. Yes.
Ready to vote for Kamala.
For $100,000 a week, I'll be all about joy, too. I'd be very joyful with $100,000 a week in my pocket, too. I just don't understand it. And yeah, probably not taking money from Kamala Harris. I don't think I would do that. But, to do what I was doing, just have somebody else say, hey, Tenant Media, come out to me. And again, Tenant Media was such a different, it's not like they got a call from Putin. Tenant Media is somebody who a lot of people know, especially in this industry. We all know who Tenant Media is or have heard of them before. So if they were to come to me and say, hey, listen, we want you to tweet, keep doing what you're doing, talk about all the things you're talking about, keep it the pro-Trump thing, I know who you're going to vote for. Here's $100,000 a week, and we're going to help push your product and push your social media. I'd be like, yeah, absolutely. Let's keep going.
Well, let's do it. I want to hear more from Donald Trump because he's saying things that should be music to anyone's ears when he talks about what he's going to do for all Americans when it comes to the economy. Say what you want to. He's got a track record. Rhino said it earlier. He's done it before and will do it again. He's just saying what he's always said, and we experienced it. Anybody that is deciding to vote right now, let's say you're in North Carolina and you got your ballot and you're about to write it in. You listen to that, and go, okay, I've seen that before. Or you listen to Kamala Harris and say, okay, I've seen that before. This is what's going on right now. Nothing's going to change. That message is a winning message right there.
Yeah, I think it is a winning message, and I think you need to start hitting more of the economy and stay on the economy, because that's going to be the number one issue people are going to vote on. And when you go to Pennsylvania, you got to talk about drilling, you got to talk about fracking, and you got to talk about Kamala's stance on anti-fracking. Those are the things that he needs to continue to do. People already know he wants to drill and he wants to fix this economy, and I think people trust that if there's anyone who can do it, it's Donald Trump.
Well, this is a man that instituted the largest tax cuts since Ronald Reagan in the 1980s, and so we've already lived through that. He did talk about how he wants to make those tax cuts permanent for every single American, but also the other aspect that I thought that he brought up that was pretty interesting. We talk about corporate tax rates, and we talk about their profits, and he flat out said, if you work here, if you basically base your company here and you create your product here for Americans, I'll lower your taxes even further. Like, I thought that was brilliant.
Absolutely it is. And that's the beauty, right? You actually have seen this play out before. What was it like for you 4 years ago? And that should be what guides your vote. It's as simple as that. You can't make it any more clear. If you're downtrodden, you're looking for something to make you smile, but putting money in your pocket will actually make you smile.
But guys, here was I thought that was so interesting about it. And we talked about what's going on with some of our trade agreements, where some companies, American companies, have moved south and have been operating out of Mexico and then selling product back here. What happens when you can keep that Ford plant here?
Oh, yeah.
What happens when you can
jobs?
Exactly. What happens with that air conditioning company when they stay here and suddenly their tax rate is even lower because they're manufacturing and selling within the United States?
Reshoring, I believe that's what they call that.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. And, one of the things that we talk about, or that Donald Trump the reality of it is this, that when we do that and we create American jobs, well, we want to be able to have an advantage in this market. We want to be able to make sure that American products are being made and American products are being sold. So then Kamala Harris, of course, she says, well, we're going to do tariffs on China. Wow. Again, here we have a copycat idea. As they were saying, oh, tariffs on China, you will just make everybody have to pay more for everything. And then she comes out with it. It's not the way that works, but okay. Economy. People who are part of this party or are, I guess, business savvy in general are going to look at that and say, yeah, this works. The ones on the other, because the corporate tax rate and the ideas behind the tax rate, now she's dropping the unrealized gains after getting that. But that should show you enough, and I think he needs to capitalize on that. She wanted to tax you, and then when she realized it didn't pull well, she pulled it back. But what happens when she does get in?
And she does it.
Yes, and she does it to you.
Well, it does put pressure on her. When you have Donald Trump getting up in front of this many people and talking about our corporate tax rate and what he plans to do, I hope that the first question, if anyone's able to ever ask a question to Kamala Harris, is to ask her about what her tax plan is.
Yeah, right. But she's going to stumble and stammer. And look, maybe that's something that Trump needs to do, is focus on those things during debate. Make sure that when the questions aren't asked, you put her in a corner and make her answer questions that nobody is asking.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things she's talking about now is capital gains, and she's coming back on that as well. And what she's saying is, we're not going to tax your capital gains that much. Right. It's going to be less than what Joe Biden wanted 39%. She's at around 25 to 28% on capital gains. Still not a winner for people who want to, succeed and actually benefit from things that they purchased with their money.
The choice is clear. Really, really clear. Now, will Americans vote that way? That's a different story altogether. When we come back on Extra 106.3, we'll knock out the headlines. And there are Republicans who are quietly, according to Politico, pulling against Donald Trump. Who are they and why? Next on the Morning Extra.
This is a
ball game. You can't say, that Donald Trump is just fine, but he's better for America than they are. Who doesn't know that?
The Kimmer Show every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. This week's guest is Mike Lutzenkirchen of the Lutze 43 Foundation. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT or online at atlbail.com.
This September, Diamonds Direct's ultimate offer is back, stronger than ever. Diamonds Direct helps you get the perfect jewelry gift with 0% interest. That's right, enjoy 5 years of 0% financing on any Diamonds Direct purchase. It's your chance to get her the perfect ring with 0 interest and comfortable monthly payments that fit your budget. But act fast. This offer ends September 30th. For details and more, visit diamondsdirect.com. Spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest on approved credit. Only at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Do you have over $10,000 in credit card debt? If you're feeling the financial impact with unprecedented economic challenges, DebtBlue is here for you. With DebtBlue's Success Guarantee, you pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved.
I'm just living sky high right now. So I'm very thankful for it. And the team at DebtBlue are phenomenal. They're able to work with you. They're great.
Call for your free debt resolution information now. 800-200-6895. 800-200-6895.
Furniture.com America LLC seeks senior product manager in Atlanta, Georgia to create and monitor strategic metrics to support assessment of progress and provide velocity reporting. Requires a bachelor's degree in computer science, engineering, business administration, marketing, or related field of study, plus 5 years of experience in product management. This position is hybrid remote, up to 5% U.S. domestic travel. To apply, submit resume to bzupa@roomstogo.com.
Hey, it's Tug from my friends, the Frost family of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about their family's company all the time here on Extra 106.3. First Liberty has helped hundreds of small businesses grow by saying yes when the big banks say no. On Wall Street, opportunities to earn big returns are everywhere. But for Main Street investors, those opportunities are hard to find. Until now. Our First Liberty notes are now open to qualified Main Street investors, paying interest rates of 8 to 13% while helping fuel the growth of small businesses right here in Georgia. With a few basic qualifications and with as little as $25,000, qualified Main Street investors just like you can earn an 8 to 13% interest rate. If this is you, they'd love to hear from you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and consider joining the First Liberty family today. That's FirstLibertyGA.com. FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
All right, here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Friday, September 6th. GBI Director Chris Hosey announced the arrest of 54-year-old Colin Gray, the father of 14-year-old Colt Gray, who is the suspected Appalachia High School shooter. According to Director Hosey, Colin Gray is being charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children. Hosey stated that the charges stem from Mr. Gray knowingly allowing his son to possess a weapon. Colt Gray, 14, is expected to make his first court appearance this morning at 8:30. According to the Georgia Department of Juvenile Justice, Colt will appear virtually at the Supreme Court hearing in Barrow County from inside the Gainesville Regional Youth Detention Center. The 14-year-old, who will be tried as an adult, is facing 4 counts of felony murder. And in sports, the Atlanta Braves have now dropped into a tie with the New York Mets for the final National League wildcard spot after falling to the Colorado Rockies 3-1 last night. The Braves will host the Toronto Blue Jays in a 3-game series that begins tonight at Truist Park. Max Fried will be on the mound for the Braves with first pitch scheduled for 7:20. You can catch all the action on our sister station, 680 The Fan.
Before we get to some of these low-down Republicans, want to encourage you to adopt a duck to support Special Olympics of Georgia and its athletes. Special Olympics of Georgia is currently offering rubber ducky adoptions, where your donation not only gets you registered for some great prizes, but your support will help send athletes to the game. Hurry up. It all wraps up on December 18th. Adopt a duck now to support Georgia Special Olympians. You do that easily at duckrace.com/Atlanta. It's duckrace.com/Atlanta. Yeah, there's no doubt. I think even if you're voting for her, you know she's phoning. There's not a chance that people who are voting for her don't know she's phoning. They either A, like her for some reason, know she's phoning, B, like what she's bringing to the table, which I don't see, or the third option, hates Donald Trump. And I think that's probably the one that wraps them all up into a nice communist sandwich, if you will. Morning Xtra on Xtra 106.3. A Christian who supports Kamala Harris for the most anti-Christian reason. Next on the Morning Xtra on Xtra 106.3. My name is Tug, along with Rhino and Los. We are the Morning Xtra. And we'll be here until 10. You can listen to us on the app. You can listen to us at 106.3 FM, 1230 AM, streaming at extra1063.com. Or you can even stream us on the Xtra 106.3 YouTube channel. We'll wave and smile pretty for you.
Xtra 106.3 is the only station in Atlanta to bring you unedited news, information, and updates. With an all-star lineup of local and network voices, Xtra is committed to being the station you need during the biggest election of our lifetime.
This presidential election is unlike any other.
Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station is Xtra 106.3 FM, and listen across Georgia on the Xtra app.
Veterans are eager to transfer their skills and experiences to civilian life, but need a trusted resource to navigate life beyond military service. The Warrior Alliance is changing thousands of lives for the better and needs your support to expand our impact. Join us for an exciting fundraising program, followed by an Atlanta Braves baseball private event on Friday, September 13th. Special guests include powerful veteran testimonies, Atlanta Braves alumnus Sid Bream, and Drivin' and Cryin's Kevin Kinney. Individual tickets and VIP tables are on sale now at thewarrioralliance.org.
Have you heard about Sonder and their Georgia-based Medicare Advantage health plans? Sonder Health Plans is committed to revolutionizing healthcare, making it straightforward, personal, and affordable. Call them and ask if you qualify for their fantastic $400 grocery card offer and $0 premiums. They've even got their own radio show and podcast called Weekend Wellness, dedicated to keeping all Georgians healthy and happy at every age. Call 800-331-2928 or visit SonderHealthPlans.com. Sonder Health Plans is an HMO with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Sonder Health Plans depends on contract renewal.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 4 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffer from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. There are lots of competitors that don't have the credentials that I have. When you go to other clinics, you're not going to see a board-certified physician with the experience that I have. When you come to our clinic, you're going to see me. There's just not one therapy that can solve these complex issues. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. Total Body Therapy of Georgia, 404-777-1911, 404-777-1911, online at stopmyed.com.
It's the perfect blend of flavor and heat. Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything.
Hey everybody, it's Neil Bortz, an actual attorney spokesperson for Van Sant Law. Notice the heavy traffic out there? Yep, school's back in session. Things can happen. Sometimes people aren't that careful. Maybe an accident. But David Van Sant, he's there to help smooth the way for you if somebody you love gets hurt. Call Van Sant Law at 855-GA-INJURY. 855-GA-INJURY. First call after 9/11, Van Sant Law. 855-GA-INJURY.
Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black here, founder of Rough Greens. You know, about 40 years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. The doctors told me there was nothing they could do. Nothing. I needed to go home and get my affairs in order. Well, I decided to take a different track and ultimately became a naturopathic doctor for now over 20 years. I'm also a world-class dog lover. And I know that lots of dogs suffer with digestive problems, itching and scratching, low energy, achy joints, bad breath, you name it, they suffer from it. And research showed me that dog food is dead food. So I formulated Rough Greens with specific vitamins and minerals, probiotics, antioxidants, omega oils, all the stuff your dog needs. Just sprinkle on a little bit of Rough Greens. It's easy. My dogs and I are so convinced they can help your dog, we're offering a free Jumpstart trial bag. All you have to do is cover the shipping. Don't ever give up on your health or on your dog's health. Order your free Jumpstart trial bag at roughgreens.com. That's ruffgreens.com.
The Dean's List with Janice Dean.
A woman from Houston, Texas makes the Dean's List for being the oldest living person in the U.S. Elizabeth Francis turned 115 a few months ago and is now the fourth oldest documented person living in the world. She is what is called a supercentenarian, which is a rare group of people who have surpassed the age of 110. Miss Francis lives at home with her daughter, Dorothy, who is 95. They have caregivers with them, but Elizabeth is doing very well. One of her mottos in life is, treat people like you would want to be treated. An organization that tracks and studies human longevity visited Miss Francis and her family to present her with an award to recognize this incredible moment. They say one of the most important things around her is her support of her family, her faith, and community. Elizabeth Francis, happy belated birthday. You're amazing, and you made the Dean's List. Janice Dean, Fox News.
Love having a true conservative news and talk station in Atlanta? Then spread the word. Tell your family and friends to download the Extra 106.3 app and stream the Morning Extra, The Kimmer Show, and Atlanta's biggest lineup of conservative voices.
I don't want to say I don't watch the NBA ever, but I really don't watch the NBA ever. If my son's watching when he's home, it's not like I'm going to yell at him. I'll watch a game with him, whatever. I know he is a fan of Steph Curry. A lot of people are. I mean, he's an incredible athlete. He's an incredible basketball player, 4-time NBA champion. But he's done something, Los, that stands out to me as a man that is proud of my Christian faith, as is he. He talks about it. But he's endorsing Kamala Harris for a very unchristian-like reason, which is throwing me a curveball.
Yeah, this is different. Now, keep in mind, Steph Curry's now 36 years old. He just won a gold medal at the Olympics. He's getting near the end, and so now he's being a little more adamant about what he believes politically. And if you want to know the background on this, he did appear on video at the DNC.
Yep,
he kind of gave a rah-rah speech there. But then beyond that, there was a situation a couple of years ago where he owns, a very large property over in California.
Yeah.
And there was basically a push to create some affordable housing that was going to be behind his property.
NIMBY.
And NIMBY. Not in my backyard. He was the primary person who shot it down to make sure that regular folks were not able to have, let's say, condos. That's basically what he did. So take a listen. He appeared on Squawk Box yesterday on CNBC, and he explained why he's backing Kamala Harris.
Obviously, endorsing Kamala is important for me, for my family.
Why? What are the issues you care about most?
Say what?
What are the issues you care about?
I just know from especially women's rights and thinking about, what's at stake with this election and understanding, we need to be in a position where women have the right to choose what's right for them. And that's at the top of the list for me. I have amazing women in my life who've, been a huge inspiration to me. But knowing Kamala and having been around her and understand she's qualified for this job, she's, I think, representing what it means to be a great leader and being a decent human being in terms of representing our country the right way. So it's an easy choice for me, but to be able to have be in a situation where you can be a part of the DNC, do a video like that, let people know where I feel like, but foster positive conversations, through it all. I think that's what our country needs.
Goodness.
That's not what our country needs.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
Where's the leadership? Because he's a leader on the court.
Less housing.
Right, exactly. Where's the leadership exactly, Steph Curry? That would be my first question. Point out some place that she's led and done well with it. I'll wait.
My first question would be, how much does she pay you to say all this BS?
Right.
That would be my first question.
He doesn't need the money because it can't be that.
God, it just doesn't make any sense to me that a lot of people, look, they've fallen into this trap of joy. This has become a popularity contest more than it's become an issue contest. And that's the problem with politics today is that, I would say, I hate saying this because I've really enjoyed voting from the time I was 18.
Me too.
Because I enjoyed really researching what I'd want for my future. I feel like that's gone out the window, and now we just root for our favorite football team, and we just hate the other side so much. We give them bulletin board material every time. There was nothing in what he said that would make me want to vote for her.
Mm-mm. Yeah, nothing was said that was like, oh my gosh, you know what? That Steph Curry's right on this one, man. I've been wrong the whole time. She's a really nice person. She's got all this leadership quality. She's done all these things for America. None of that's true. And here's the other thing, just because of the abortion issue. He says his mother, Sonia, has publicly shared the fact that she considered aborting Steph Curry. Well, wouldn't you think if you're Steph Curry, I'm glad she didn't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty black and white. Had she done it, you wouldn't even be here to make this endorsement. Don't you think life is important? I mean, yours was on the brink of not existing, and yet you're going down the path of cutting short someone else's life.
Rules for me.
I know.
I know. Or no rules for me, rules for thee, none for me. That's what he made it. So what's he care now?
Oh, but that should make you care even more. I know what you're saying. I know you're saying that.
But that's not his personality. That's not his love the way it is yours or mine, who would see it in a different light. His doesn't even think about it. In his mind, he has to be politically correct. Number one, you either don't get involved in it and let it be if you're a sports guy, or you're full in. He's full in now.
It certainly seems that way.
I'll tell you, I was just a little... As somebody who does love his game, as somebody who was rooting for him in the Olympics,
sure,
and then to see all this stuff come out, again, I draw that line of, I understand your politics. That does not affect how I root for you in terms of being an athlete, but at the same time, when you're not able to really articulate what it is about somebody that you're really in favor of, then you just seem kind of like every other idiot out there.
Yeah,
and at that point, I kind of lose the fight when I'm trying to root for you hitting 3-pointers.
Yeah, no. Well, it just becomes so less important, when you're talking about life and death.
Just explain it. If you can explain what it is that appeals to you and that works for you and your family, then I'm like, hey, cool, we're on opposite sides, and that's fine. We probably could have a beer and it'd be totally cool.
Yeah.
But you can't even explain it.
Well, and that's the other thing. I cheered for him in the Olympics too, man. I got no problem cheering for the guy. I do have a problem as a person that is proud of my faith, that is involved in my faith. You can't tell me how faithful you are, yet take an anti-Christian angle on it. We played the preacher woman, whatever she was, earlier in the week when she was like, Jesus would be proud of you for aborting your child. If someone says that in your church, get out of that church. That's not a holy church. That is not a church that follows the scriptures. And I would say the same thing to Steph Curry. Where in the Bible do you see killing a child is good? Point that out to me, and then maybe we can have a conversation. Until then, you sound like a buffoon.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those things where if you're all in, well, shouldn't you stay all in? If you're, I don't understand how people are, if you're pro-life or if you're Christian and you believe in that, you can't half believe. I just don't get that part of it. You either have to be fully pro-life at that matter. As far as I'm concerned, you should be fully pro-life and you should really do whatever you can. And I understand there are certain situations. I'm in that situation, I don't have to worry about it now, by the way. But if it were the case, I understand that somebody else is in a relationship with me. They have their own choice and what they want to do, but I'm always pro-life. I'm always, hey, this is what I think. This is what I would think. This is how I feel. Whether you make a decision with me or not on this, I am going to fight for this, and I understand that. I would never go in and go, hey, Kamala Harris, I understand it, Joy, blah, blah, blah. If I was truly a religious person and truly a man of God, I would not go in and say, but I'm okay with what she's saying. I don't think people should be okay with what Donald Trump's done if you're truly religious too sometimes.
Absolutely.
It's one of the things I disagree with on him.
I've said it a million times. He makes me nervous.
I think it's smart what he's doing because of the politically smart. Sure. I just don't agree with it.
Yeah, and it makes me not like him. And since he got all that pushback from people like me and people that do believe in the sanctity of life, he's stepped away from that and been very quiet on it. And maybe, Lois, that's the best way to be. Just not. You've said it a million times. Don't talk about abortion if you're Donald Trump. Because there's no winning the fight.
The only winning angle. Okay, now as I've said before on this radio program, we had a situation with my younger daughter. And we decided, come what may, we're going to have her, and we'll love her regardless. Unfortunately, everything turned out okay. Even though early on in the pregnancy, it was like it did not look great. But that was our personal choice. With that being said, that's how I feel about it. But I believe the winning message is you can't ban abortion. It's got to be part of the conversation. It's got to be available because that is the only way that you take some of the fervor out of some of the women voters out there that will vote completely against their wallets, completely against their family because they want to look at it and say, well, abortion is my right. Like,
yeah, like for me, I'm 100% anti-abortion. I'm not asking politicians to be that.
Right.
I'm saying
in my personal life, I make the exact same way.
Yeah, that's exactly right. There's no there's other things you can debate in the Bible. There's all kinds of things that people aren't sure about, right? There's discussion, debates about it all the time. Never in the Bible does it say it's okay to kill. As a matter of fact, it's in the Ten Commandments. Thou shalt not. So there's no discussion there.
There's no discussion there. There's no discussion when it comes to exactly what Donald Trump is supposed to say, and that is that this is a state issue, and I thought he did a good job with that. You got to get this thought that the Democrats are trying to put in everybody's head that this is going to become a federal issue. The whole point of what Donald Trump did, and he needs to stick to it and needs to keep reiterating, state issue only.
And J.D. Vance has brought it up a couple times when asked. He's like, no, we're not going to do a federal ban on abortion, which is, like Glo said, probably the right answer politically. It chaps my hide to hear it, but probably the right answer politically. Morning Extra on Extra 106.3 404-741-1230 is the number if you feel differently or you would like to echo the sentiment. 404-741-1230. Always welcome on the show. When we come back after a Fox News update, Donald Trump has enlisted Elon Musk to make government small again. Put a smile on my face, bet it did yours too. The Kimmer Show is only on Extra 106.3 every weekday afternoon on your drive home.
President John F. Kennedy would have hated today's Democrat Party. John F. Kennedy was a business. He said what's good for General Motors is good for America. He was a whole different kind of Democrat. And he would be proud of Robert Kennedy Jr.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Election season is here, and regardless of which side of the aisle you're on, we can all experience the stress of uncertainty. Fear of the unknown can cause us to postpone important decisions that impact our lives, especially in retirement planning. Resist hesitation and contact Masterplan Retirement Consultants, a holistic retirement planning firm dedicated to creating a retirement plan to help with all of life's surprises. Through income planning and money management, legacy planning, and tax planning, we create a plan specifically designed for your life to see you to and through retirement. Don't leave your retirement up to chance. Create a plan for your retirement and pursue peace of mind. Visit masterplanretire.com. Masterplan Retirement Consultants. Plan well and prosper.
Advisory services offered through Masterplan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Masterplan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Neil Borch here. Maybe you've already taken the steps to improve your health, maybe save your life. if you're using a CPAP for your sleep apnea. I've been using one for well over 20 years. So right now I'm here to tell you about a source for CPAPs and CPAP supplies here in the Atlanta area. CPAPs, etc. They're in Alpharetta. They have whatever you need. Roddy and Sharon are your CPAP experts, and they'll ship nationwide. More information, cpapsetc.com.
Well, summer's here and the weather is beautiful. Everyone has a favorite outdoor activity: golf, bike riding, bird watching, long walks. Ask 100 people, you'll get 100 answers. But if everyday aches and pains are keeping you on the sidelines, I have one answer: Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. Wherever you're hurting, back, neck, joints, or muscles, in 3 weeks or less, you'll start to feel the difference all day, every day. So whatever you like to do, swimming, pickleball, hanging out in the garden, Relief Factor can help you feel good again and let you enjoy all your favorite outdoor activities all summer long. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
It's September 6th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is National Read a Book Day. Slightly different than National Book Lovers Day, today, grab your favorite book and start reading. If you have small kids, there's nothing more memorable than reading stories to them. And reading a book can also have health benefits, from lowering blood pressure to helping improve your memory. And for older folks, reading a book helps to slow cognitive decline. Also on this date in 1995.
And let it be said that number 8, Cal Ripken Jr. has reached the unreachable star.
Hall of Fame shortstop Cal Ripken Jr. surpassed what many thought was the unbreakable record of consecutive games played set by New York Yankees first baseman Lou Gehrig, and which stood for 56 years. With the final out of the top of the 5th inning against the Angels, the game was official, and Ripken played in consecutive game 2,131. I'm Tushar Saxena, and that's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. This hour is presented by Van Sant Law, vansantlaw.com.
It's happened again. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. This time it's the father of an accused school shooter charged in Georgia with second-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter.
These charges stem from Mr. Gray knowingly allowing his son, Colt, to possess a weapon.
Georgia Bureau of Investigation Director Chris Hosey. Colin Gray bought the gun his son is accused of using to kill 2 classmates and 2 teachers at Appalachia High School in Winder.
So these are the most severe charges ever filed against the parent of an alleged school shooter. This comes just months after Jennifer and James Crumbly were convicted of involuntary manslaughter for leaving an unsecured gun in their home, which their son Ethan used to kill 4 students at his Michigan high school.
Now, 14-year-old Cole, that's Fox's Brooke Simon, 14-year-old Cole Gray is expected in court next hour facing 4 murder charges. Hunter Biden has pleaded guilty to 9 charges of tax evasion right before jury selection was to start.
The prosecution was allowed to read out the entire 56-page indictment, including all the lurid details about strippers, fast cars, fast women, as prosecutors had put it.
Fox's Jonathan Hunt outside the federal court in Los Angeles. Biden will be sentenced in December, a month after the president's son will be sentenced on felony gun convictions. We expect to hear today from the New York judge in the Trump criminal case on whether he'll delay the sentencing scheduled later this month, like the former president is asking for. Now in Washington, a Trump lawyer entered a not guilty plea to the revised federal 2020 election interference case against the former president. And a short time later in New York, he was critical of his rival, Vice President Harris.
She wants 4 more years to enforce a radical left agenda that poses a fundamental threat to the prosperity of every American family.
But Harris keeps raising a lot more money than him. The vice president, Democrats raised $361 million last month. The Trump August fundraising was less than half that. America's listening to Fox News.
Jerry Padgett, the second enlisted in the U.S. Navy and deployed multiple times to Iraq and Afghanistan until Jerry was catastrophically injured in an improvised explosive device blast. Now, Jerry received a new smart home thanks to our friends at the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Now, the home is in the foundation's Let Us Do Good Village. It's in Florida, and Jerry now lives more independently thanks to the specially adaptive technologies. Commit to $11 a month, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
I'm going to let you in on a wireless hack that can cut your cell phone bill in half. Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile want you to believe you need unlimited data. Fact is, most people don't. Pure Talk only charges you for data you need. For just $25 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data, plus mobile hotspot. Stop overpaying for wireless. Dial pound 250 and say Pure Talk to switch easily. And save 50% off your first month with Pure Talk.
No traffic, no big deal. It's the Morning Extra on 106.3.
About to play you a clip from Donald Trump, and it will make you smile as you head into work this morning or drop the kids off at school. Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. We're on the air until 10. Before we get to that, a couple things. Ballots in North Carolina go out today. That is important with the fact that, that people will be filling out their ballot today and have not really heard anything out of Kamala Harris. You know nothing about her. But there will be people in North Carolina that vote for her in spite of that, which is very, very odd, in my opinion. That's just the way I said it. I think it's very odd. You got J.D. Vance will speak later this month at Georgia's Faith and Freedom Coalition dinner. And the interesting thing about it, it's on September 16th. Governor Brian Kemp will be there. This will be the first event they've kind of done together, unifying the Republican Party behind Donald Trump.
Well, from what has been said and behind the scenes, and everybody, I think, pretty much knows at this point that J.D. Vance was part of the reason why Donald Trump and Brian Kemp have made this kind of...
Buried the hatchet, if you will.
Buried the hatchet, yeah. So I think it's important that this is going on because, again... I know it's been quiet lately, but the true party of unity right now is the Conservative Party. Not the Republican Party, the Conservative Party. Because I think what Donald Trump is doing by bringing in Democrats like RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard, Elon Musk, to say, hey, we can do this together. We actually can work together. See, the left can sit and play the game of unity and joy and happiness, but the one thing they'll tell you is get rid of every Republican. We need to get them all out. And what Donald Trump is bringing them in. And even in things that I think should have been in a closed door environment between Donald Trump and Brian Kemp. But even though it was public, now it's buried. Now it's being done. Again, uniting the party together.
Well, the Democrat Party, and when we played the audio to end last hour, has become the party of the rich, the party of the elite. When Steph Curry is backing it, when you see the amount of money that they're raising that was in the Fox News update in comparison to the Trump campaign, you recognize you are up against a rich elite machine. That is what you are now against, and that rich elite machine benefits from big government.
Absolutely, it does. And if you want to be countercultural, you vote against the machine. You don't rage for the machine. They rage against the machine. You actually rage against the machine. Like, truly do that. And to be countercultural, you cannot vote for the Democrat Party. It's just impossible. If you want to do something out of the mainstream, something that the mainstream media, Hollywood, big sports, big tech, big everything tells you to do, then you vote for Donald Trump. It's crazy to think that because he's a billionaire himself. But they're raising money, as Lowe's pointed out, and it was in the Fox News update, they're raising money at an incredible, alarming rate. You should recognize what it is, what that machine is. But Donald Trump did say yesterday that he wants to make government smaller again, which I have been a fan of. Everybody on this show is a fan of making government smaller. It should be done because the weight of the federal government, the waste, the fraud, the abuse. I mean, there's the story out of Minnesota with the programs which Tim Walz is loosely tied to when he was governor. The biggest fraud against the federal government with COVID that exists, and it is then the millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars. Absolutely ridiculous. But it just goes to show you, anytime there's huge bureaucracy, there's going to be waste, fraud, and abuse. And that's why Donald Trump is going to enlist the help of Elon Musk. Y'all remember what he did at Twitter when he bought it and changed the name to X. He went in there with a just machete and started just cutting things out that was unnecessary and got the company down to 100 employees. And I don't know about y'all, but I've not seen a hiccup. I've not seen an issue with Twitter when they lost all those employees. Seemed like it worked pretty darn well. Donald Trump said Elon Musk is going to do the same thing for the federal government.
At the suggestion of Elon Musk, who has given me his complete and total endorsement, that's nice, because he's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. It's very, very much appreciated. I will create a government efficiency commission tasked with conducting a complete financial and performance audit of the entire federal government and making recommendations for drastic reforms. We need to do it. Can't go on the way we are now. And Elon, because he's not very busy, has agreed to head that task force. Be interesting. If he has the time, that'd be a good one to do it. But he's agreed to do it.
I love it, y'all. Anything we can do to shrink the federal government, I am in favor of. I mean, I don't care if we get rid of things we actually need that get swept up in all the cuts. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, and this isn't even about, let's be careful what this is about. This is about efficiency. So, yeah, there will be cuts, but that's not the point of him going in there. So it needs to be approached like that, because if we go out there and go, yeah, slash it, cut it, that's a very negative way to say it. What we're looking for is, well, I understand that's what we want out of it, but the truth of the matter is this is about efficiency, figuring out how these departments, that some of them need to go, but some of them need a better efficiency and a better way of working and saving money overall. The whole point of what we need to do is to save money, and that's the point of business, is to save as much money and not print money and hopefully get away from the deficit that we face. We'll never get away from that, but at the same time, we want to be more efficient, and I don't think there's a better person out there other than Elon Musk.
Well, the government is filled with redundancy, and that's essentially what Donald Trump is saying and what Elon Musk got rid of when it came to Twitter. Now the final numbers are somewhere right around 88 to 90% of the Twitter staff are gone from the time he took over, because he looked at it and said, I can run this tighter, more efficient, and more lean. I would love if we had somebody in the government that said, why do we have 8 people doing the exact same job?
Dude, I'll take it. You can call it anything you want to call it. Call it a powdery name like efficiency. Call it a fluffy name like that. Point to something in the federal government that is efficient. Nothing exists.
Stealing money from people.
Okay. Yeah, maybe.
They're very efficient at taxing you.
Maybe that. But that's what I'm saying. There's nothing in there that is efficient. And I don't care which side of the aisle you're on. Find me a Democrat that's going to say the government's efficient. I don't believe that exists either. I think they understand just as much as we do that the government is just completely full of fraud, waste, and abuse. And they may blame it on Republicans, which is fine. But at the same time, we all agree that nothing in the government is efficient. So having someone like Elon Musk to go in and just, take a machete to it. I want to see him take a hacksaw to it, a chainsaw to it. I want to see departments gone, just like Vivek Ramaswamy said, man. I want to see all this crap gone.
Well, that's part of the efficiency program. And that's why you need to be efficient with things. The reality of it is this. We look at efficient, non-efficient places like the DMV. Do we really need a DMV? I guess, sort of, kind of, or do we? Because from what I've seen today, I get my license sent to me every time on the internet now. I go on, I renew it, I get it sent back to me. Now, what about driving tests? Okay, let's cut the rest of it and just have the driving test then. That's about efficiency.
The only thing I'd say there, Rhino, is that my son didn't do the driving test with the DMV. He did it with his driving school.
Yeah, or do it with school in general. Bring it into school, because I did mine in school as well. We had our little K cars, and then I had Mr. Orr, who was my shop teacher. He was also the driver's ed teacher, and that's how we did, our driving tests and did everything right there, and then we got to learn and experiment, and then moved on. But there are ways to make our government more efficient. I think the Department of Education should be cut. They'll never get it done. But if we can't get that gone, we can at least make it a lot more efficient by saying, why do we have 100 people doing the same exact job?
I don't know about y'all. I'm just glad to hear anybody talking about shrinking the size of the federal government. You think you think Kamala Harris is going to talk about shrinking the size of the federal government?
Oh, no, expanding it. She's already talked about
expanding. Exactly right. She's going to make it bigger. She's going to make the bureaucracy more.
She signed. She was the final vote that enabled for the Inflation Reduction Act, the Green New Bill, and 87,000 more IRS agents. She can never say that she's for shrinking the size of government.
No, absolutely not. And she, she's the shining example of more government. She's the shining example of government involvement and crony capitalism and just cronyism altogether.
Yeah, and we need to stop calling it the Inflation Reduction Act, according to Joe Biden, who told us that this is what it is, the Green New Deal. And I love the fact, too, that that's one of the programs that you need to get on right away with Elon Musk. Donald Trump said it. We're cutting that bill up. We're going to get rid of the waste, any of the money that's unspent, because there's so much money that they said they put in there that's unspent. We're going to bring that back, give it back to the people, or at least, they will never give us back that money. But I would hope that we would find a way to get that money back to the people one way or another. We need to start making sure that we are the most efficient government, and we got to really start working on the national debt.
Government and efficient, those two words don't go together.
They never work together.
They don't go together.
They're not married at all.
That's right. They are antonyms.
They're not even neighbors.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Morning Xtra, Xtra 106.3. This story with the Georgia shooter and the fact that his father's now been arrested, this still doesn't sit well with me. I don't know all the facts and all the details. There's so much that we don't know. It's hard to make a good, educated guess. But when I hear his father's been arrested for something he's done, that automatically doesn't sit well with me, guys. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but that immediately, my gut instinct is that doesn't feel right, doesn't look right. And you're seeing people use politics, I believe, to go after parents as a way to force gun control. That's what it appears to be.
You're not the only one who believes that, obviously, because this is ridiculous the way they jumped to a microphone right away. Not one of them came down to Atlanta after Zion Charles and 2 other black kids were killed in a mass shooting. Not one of them went down there and called for gun control. Not one of them going to East Point to say, hey, you know what? We need to talk about the illegal guns, the gang members, and the mass shootings that we have every day. Because the reality of it is, it happens a lot more in Chicago and other areas, and these Democrats don't care about black people or what happens in their communities. It's only when it happens and they can make it political. But this is a weird story, and it keeps getting weirder all the time. When they go to the Discord page, this is some of the information they got yesterday. They find the name on the Discord page was in Russian, translated it out, and it came to Lanza, an obvious relation of the Sandy Hook killer. Then they said the description didn't match Colt, the IP address was even a little off and weird. So there's a lot more to this story, but I'm with you. I need more information before I can say, hey, Colin, the father, being arrested. I just don't understand it right away, right now.
Well, this is the slippery slope if we are now entering into an area where what your kids do, you are responsible for. Now, I get if you aided them in a crime.
That's right, exactly. You're right, but that's obvious, right? That makes sense.
We knew this was coming.
That's the obvious part. It's just we've now established that if you have a failure, if one of my daughters was to jump in my car and go run through a parade, the fact that my keys were sitting on the table, does that make me responsible?
Right, because that's what this opens the door for. And
it opens the door for a lot of, look, we knew this was coming. Yesterday morning, before they even announced this, what did I say? They're going to do this just like they did the family up in Michigan. They're going to press charges on the family. The father will be the first one arrested. It was pretty easy to see this coming.
Connect the dots.
But the slippery slope is, and what they want is, and their idea is, well, if we start charging parents, kids won't do this. That's a lie. That's a lie. They'll find another way to continue to do this because this is a bigger problem than just a father who left the gun safe open. You can go after anybody at this point. Why not go after the principal? Throw them away. Everybody knew this kid was a problem. Why'd they allow him in school then?
And this
is a slippery slope.
Absolutely, it is, man, and it's going to get worse. And believe me, the left, the folks who despise the Second Amendment are going to go after this. This is their new lawfare. This is the way that they'll attack what they hate, just like they attacked Donald Trump with lawfare. And I'll tell you, because I heard, last night and this morning again, they're like, well, his dad bought him a gun. Okay, you know what? My dad bought me a gun when I was a kid. I had a shotgun. I had a rifle. I had both in my bedroom all the time. And nothing happened. Every kid I grew up with had a gun on a gun rack, on the wall, in their bedroom. It's just the way we grew up. And there's a difference in having a gun in your room and using it for an evil, nefarious purpose. Those are two way different things.
If you tell me that there is a line of delineation where we would say, okay, that's a step too far. If I'm a responsible gun owner, and that's how you can categorize me. I don't have anything on my record. I can walk into any gun store in America and buy a gun. Okay, that's not a problem. If I'm handing it to a child with mental health issues, all right, now I've got something here I can talk about.
Yeah, no, right. I think
and again, I agree. To punish me for what I've done, and I agree, it's a slippery slope. You start wondering about how many things you can be held accountable for. But just from a rationale of a legal gun owner did something that might have been completely idiotic, and as it turns out, it is idiotic. You should not hand a gun to somebody who has these sort of unstable issues.
I agree with you 100%. But until I hear that he actually handed it to the child.
Yeah.
See, what I want to hear, because I think the biggest question is, how did the kid get to school that day with the gun? And a lot of what, the question last night while I was watching the press conference, I thought it was a good question and it wasn't answered, probably for a good reason. Did he drive his son to school that day? And if he did and gave him the gun, man, I can't tell you. Yes, he is guilty of involuntary manslaughter at that point and accessory to this crime. Now, if the gentleman left the safe open or the kid had the code to the safe and got in the safe, I don't know how you charge him in that regard. There has to be a middle ground, because if your son was 16 at that point, or my son right now took my car and drove it into somebody, I'm kind of responsible. Now, do I go to jail? No, but I'll probably lose everything I've ever had.
You get sued.
Yeah, I'll get sued and everything else. Would they take me to jail because of what my son did? No. But and in this case, I see it the same way. The parent needs to be responsible somehow, some way, by not locking up this gun. Is it to go to jail for the rest of his life too? I don't think so.
Yeah, man. It's
again, unless he did take the kid to school and hand it to him.
Absolutely.
Then it's a completely different story.
Yeah,
for
man.
me.
If he's cooking up the plan with the kid, then yes, of course. I mean that's obvious.
I mean, this whole family right now.
Yeah, it's chaos.
It's chaos with the aunt coming out saying that this kid's been asking for help, not getting the help that he needed. That's a big problem because again, this goes to the mental health. I do want to say this. There's a lot of rumors flying about this kid being a trans kid and all this. That has to stop. Guys, we cannot go down that path every single time. It is fruitless. It's dumb. It's silly. You have no proof of this. Just because the kid dyed his hair, we don't know the reason why. We can't play these games and say, hey, this account's real when it's not.
You just got to wait for the facts to come out. I think that's the biggest thing. But when you see the dad arrested, it throws up my red flag immediately.
Sure does.
Morning Extra at Extra 106.3. When we come back, we'll hit the headlines. 7 o'clock hour is brought to you by Van Sant Law. If you're in an accident, make the right call, vansantlaw.com. What the hell's going on at CNN? They have completely gone after Kamala Harris and her new love for a border wall. You have to hear this. On the Morning Extra, Tug, Rhino, and Los until 10.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's the Kimmer. How's it going? Here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
Now, we have a drug problem in this country, both illegal and legal drugs. You watch these advertisements, and you get the impression that all you have to do to have a wonderful life is just take this drug. You'll spend your days on ski slopes or the mountains, maybe laying around on the beach. Your hair will always look perfect. You'll have a clean, smooth complexion. Your family life will be wonderful. You'll have more friends than you can count. Your kids won't be fat. Everything is just beautiful. All you have to do is take this drug. And we watch these ads and we sit back and wonder why we have a drug problem. Illegal drugs. Can't you see the thought processes in these kids? Take drugs, happy life.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
What's up, Atlanta? It's Ben Burnett, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show. Each and every weekend, right here on Extra 106.3, we unpack all the week's events. We talk about all the issues with a local Atlanta-based flavor. You can catch me each and every weekend, Saturdays at 2 and Sundays at noon. If you ever miss an episode, you can go to the podcast park or wherever you download all of your content, and I'll be right there. Thanks for listening to the Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Butler Snow.
You know Diamonds Direct for their exquisite diamonds and fine jewelry. What about luxury watches? With a handpicked collection by the industry's top timepiece experts, skip the waiting list and get the timepiece you've been eyeing right away. And this month only, enjoy 0% interest for 5 years on all the top brands. Imagine owning a $15,000 luxury watch for just $250 a month. Spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest on approved credit. Diamonds Direct, where you can shop direct for diamonds and watches.
Looking for bold discussions on vital issues? Tune in to The Janelle King Show every Saturday at 3 p.m. with an encore episode every Sunday at 9 a.m. right here on Extra 106.3, where we dive into kitchen table topics that are essential for a strong republic. Don't miss an episode, but if you do, it's all good because we have new podcasts that drop every Tuesday on the Podcast Park or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't miss out on these thought-provoking conversations.
Convenience is defined as the state of being able to proceed with something with little effort or difficulty. Well, at RBM of Atlanta, we embody this philosophy. Meet our Mercedes-Benz pickup and delivery service. It gives you back time and money. Does your Mercedes-Benz need service? If so, we'll pick up your vehicle that's requiring service from your home or office and bring it back to our dealership for the required service. With over 100 appointments available every weekday, over 50 appointments on Saturdays, and more than 200 courtesy vehicles in our fleet, we're here to serve. We'll work around your schedule. We're here to save you time, energy, and money. RBM of Atlanta is a J.D. Power 2023 Diamond Dealer of Excellence for the customer sales experience and Georgia's only 9-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best winner. We're proud to be Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964. Pickup and delivery service restrictions do apply. Ask your service coordinator or service advisor for details.
Securing America.
September is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month, and the Department of Defense is highlighting the month, calling their campaign Joining Your Fight to Connect to Protect. Dr. Liz Clark is the director of the Defense Suicide Prevention Office, commenting in a press release, suicide prevention takes a community to create change, to sustain hope, and to convey that we are all in this together. She goes on to say, I know the work is not easy, but we must each look out for each other and draw strength from each other as we light a path forward. Each death by suicide is one too many, and the department is deeply committed to ending the scourge of suicide through force. The department reminding everyone, if you or a loved one are experiencing thoughts of suicide, you are not alone, and to call the Veterans Crisis Hotline at 988. Veterans Affairs data from 2020 to 2021 showed there were nearly 6,400 veteran suicides in the country, that time frame showing the largest one-year increase in veteran suicides. Tom Graham, Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Friday, September 6th. GBI Director Chris Hosey announced the arrest of 54-year-old Colin Gray, the father of 14-year-old Colt Gray, who is the suspected Appalachia High School shooter. According to Director Hosey, Colin Gray is being charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children. Hosey stated that the charges stem from Mr. Gray knowingly allowing his son to possess a weapon. Colt Gray, 14, is expected to make his first court appearance this morning at 8:30. According to the Georgia Department of Juvenile Justice, Colt will appear virtually at the Supreme Court hearing in Barrow County from inside the Gainesville Regional Youth Detention Center. The 14-year-old, who will be tried as an adult, is facing 4 counts of felony murder. And in sports, the Atlanta Braves have now dropped into a tie with the New York Mets for the final National League wildcard spot after falling to the Colorado Rockies 3-1 last night. The Braves will host the Toronto Blue Jays in a 3-game series that begins tonight at Truist Park. Max Fried will be on the mound for the Braves. First pitch scheduled for 7:20. You can catch all the action on our sister station, 680 The Fan.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra until 10. I don't want you to think CNN has lost their mind, even though this segment may make you think they've lost their mind. K-File is a show that they do on CNN. It's hosted by Andy Kaczynski, and they are criticizing Kamala Harris for flip-flopping on the border wall, of all things. And they did a full segment. Now, remember, this is less than 5 minutes in a 24-hour day, so don't get too excited. Don't be misled that they're, some sort of fair and balanced organization. They are not. But it is interesting. You can't help but notice that they're pointing out the same things as our morning show did when Kamala Harris said she's all of a sudden in favor of a border wall.
Kamala Harris's tweets and statements going all the way back to 2017 was more than 50 instances of Harris slamming Trump's border wall. But now, new Harris campaign ads actually showcase that very wall.
As a border state prosecutor, she took on drug cartels and jailed gang members for smuggling weapons and drugs across the border.
And on top of critical tweets, Harris also wrote in her 2019 book, quote, "There was a bigger reason to oppose the border wall. A useless wall on the southern border would be nothing more than a symbol, a monument standing in opposition to not just everything I value, but to the fundamental values upon which this country was built. How could I vote to build what would be little more than a monument designed to send the cold, hard message, keep out?"
Keep out, which is exactly what a border does. Ask any Hollywood elite why they have border walls around their home. They are meant to keep people out, including, between 10, 15, 20, 30 million people that are here illegally. But I want you to hear one more cut because they go on to just dismantle Kamala Harris, talking about her book and all the ways that she described that border wall that she now supports.
Tell me more about what you found.
Yeah, that's right. We found more than 50 of those tweets criticizing the border wall before she used that in her ad. And I want people to take a look at just a few of what she said here. She called it wasteful, useless, a waste of taxpayer money, a vanity wall project, a wasteful border wall, a stupid wall, a medieval vanity project, and an unnecessary wall.
It's the president's vanity project.
His multi-billion-dollar vanity project called a wall.
I mean, you heard her talking about it there. Trump's wall in his campaign, during his presidency, there was really no greater symbol of Trump's presidency than the wall, and the way that Democrats were attacking him over the wall and his restrictive immigration policies. So we looked in that ad, and if you look at it, that exact area of wall is in Sasabe, Arizona, and that is a portion of wall that was actually built by Donald Trump. It was built in an area where there was not previous wall. It was actually pretty controversial when they were building it at the time. So just to see that, and then there are other...
She's using his wall that he built to say, look at what I did.
Dude, this is just another example of how phony Kamala Harris is. There's no question about it. Even if you support her, because you hate Donald Trump, even if you support her, there's no way you can't look at her and know she is the most fake, phony, bad actor in American political history.
How do you take something that you were so against and then turn it into something 4 years later that you say that you're claiming credit for?
Well, you do it because...
How weird is that?
I mean, is it weird, though? We've seen this from the Democrats for so long. Joe Biden, all of them flip-flop on these issues as soon as they see poll numbers. This is the reality of it. The one thing that I'm surprised, the flip-flop comes from CNN and others that are now talking about it and actually bringing up the same things that we've brought up. We have a big problem, and the border is the problem. And when she goes, and Kamala Harris goes to battleground state after battleground state, the one thing she keeps hearing is economy number one, number two, immigration. So why would she not flip-flop at that point?
She's got to, because she's got nothing else. But when you hear her, you have to roll your eyes so far in the back of your head, it's like you're playing a slot machine in Las Vegas. Because even like my Aunt Peg, who loves Kamala Harris, and I've yet to do it, but I've been so close to just
ask her about that wall.
Exactly. What do you think about this border wall that Kamala wants to put up all of a sudden?
This would be, and this is the only way I can come up with a way to talk about it when it comes to you, Tug. This would be if you suddenly crapped on the Navy.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's exactly right.
Like, how do you 180 something that you built your life around and you built how people view yourself? The Democrat Party took that wall and turned it into the symbol of all things horrible. It was racism. It was elitism. It was all of the isms you could possibly come up with that made Donald Trump into a bad person. and now suddenly she's for it and claiming credit for it. It's such an extreme change.
Yeah, and you can't help but notice it. And anybody that's voting for her must realize that it is what she is. She cannot put together an idea. She can't put together a policy. She's told what to think, and it's my understanding that the debate prep is not going well because she can't comprehend the policies that she's supposed to support, supposed to back. Now, this is a bit of a different direction. Why is CNN all of a sudden doing this? Are they just trying to gain credibility, keep credibility? Because they really have done. This is 5 minutes out of a day in a 24-hour news cycle. Does it not stand out to y'all like a sore thumb that they would even do this? Because it does me. It makes me question what in the world's going on over there. You've marched to the beat of the same drum forever, and now you're flip-flopping just like Kamala.
Yeah, look, I hate the flip-flopping. I hate the back and forth. But you know what? I mean, I guess there is something to say about, I don't want to, not flip-flopping in general, but you could change the position. But if you really have to mean it. See, a lot of people will change position, and I think you should when the people speak. I think if we, the people, tell you, hey, we want a better economy, I think you need to be working on finding a way to get a better economy. Now, when you go misguided and go towards communism or socialism, I think you've missed the mark and you're not really listening to the people. But when you just flat out flip-flop and go the other way and then try to throw in a socialist twist on it, that becomes a problem. So flip-flopping on either side, I think, is a huge problem.
I tell you, the fact that she's flip-flopped on so many things, yet during the 18-minute sit-down of the 41 minutes that we, or the 18 minutes we got to see of the 41 minutes on CNN.
I'm telling you, she must have said some really stupid things that they're
absolutely.
We can't cover for you on this.
No way.
So we'll cut it out.
But she went back to it and said it. My values haven't changed, though I'm flip-flopping. And I know I talked about this yesterday, but I think it's worth talking about again. Her values hadn't changed. Yes, she wants you to vote for her. Yes, she's going to appear a particular way, but her values have not changed. This is just to get elected. Mm-hmm. Nothing to do with how she really feels.
No, not at all. Oh, go ahead, Los.
Well, let's just consider what her values are. Power, above all.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that is her value system. It's whatever she has to be, whatever she has to say. We're now, I guess, now that we've had 48 days, 50 days when she was basically ended up as going to be the nominee, and I said something I believe it's true to this day. As much as we wanted to paint her in a certain way, I said she doesn't have a spine, and she does whatever she needs to do for power. She's palpable. And so when she says, well, my values haven't changed, I'm like, because you didn't have any.
Well, well, maybe not good values. She had some sort of values. I mean, they're very leftist, and she's devout in them. So it's not values that we would agree with.
I was going to say her values are different. I mean, there's a lot to be said there. The energy is picked up because she's telling everybody, you don't have to work. We're going to control your lives for you. You don't have to think. You don't have to work. You don't have to worry about having a home. We're going to build everything for you. And then when you mess up, we're going to take it away and give it to somebody else. But we're not going to tell you that part of it. But the values and the idea behind it is we're here to take care of everybody. And we just disagreed that you should say, hey, Tug, you can't have a boat because, Jim needs, shoes. I'm sorry, Jim should work harder. We don't agree with their values, but she does have that. The problem is with Kamala Harris and everybody else, we don't see the writing on the wall down the road. And I think a lot of the voters, and part of the reason that they don't really tell you everything and they want to use joy and happiness and everywhere else is because they don't want you to realize that this joy and happiness fades as soon as they take power.
But I think, Lo, she may be onto something with the whole she doesn't have values because she's a chameleon. I think she's
a fraud. Yeah. I mean, she shows she's a fraud every single day, Los.
Well, this is a woman that when she tells you, I would say a follow-up would be, well, articulate your values.
Yeah. Show me what they are. Tell me what they are.
And what it'll always be is power above all, because that is how the communist thinks. It doesn't matter what she has to do in order to ascertain power. And so if it means, in this case, wow, I'm doing really poor on immigration, well, you know what? Claim the border wall. Mm-hmm. What craziness, what more could you come up with that you didn't have anything to do with? You were the border czar, and because you're so poorly viewed on immigration, you take credit for Trump's wall.
Yeah, well, and they have to at this point because, they realize one thing, that Donald Trump is the outlier and the ultimate outlier. There is no comparison between him and Bush and Clinton and Obama and everybody else. That's all we've had at 28. We've talked about, the 12 out of 16. Let's talk about 28 out of 32 years. 28 out of 32 years have been run either by a Bush, a Clinton, or an Obama person. And now Kamala Harris.
Which is big government folks.
Which are all big government folks. The biggest threat to them is the people. And Donald Trump is representing the people. And that's the fear of all of them. That's why Kamala Harris is like, oh, we're the party of the people. We're working for the people. You're not working for all the people, and we know that you eliminate half the country or more with everything that you say. You divide us in every way you say. That's why Donald Trump is so dangerous to all of them. That's why they have to go back and go, yeah, his policy's right. Now how can we spin it to make our way look better?
Well, good luck with making your way
close
look
the
better.
border.
Yeah, because you're going to use.
You've been doing this for 12
examples.
years. You've been opening this border and telling us that you're going to bring all these extra voters in for replacement.
There's nothing about Kamala Harris. Like, I've gotten to the point, Lois, where when I see her, I just want to change the channel. And I don't know that I've ever been, I don't know, maybe Hillary. I was probably that way a little bit with Hillary, too. Just so fed up with it.
I was more with Hillary. I'll be honest. I'm more afraid of Hillary than I am Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is just a mouthpiece. She's just a puppet. I am scared of the people behind her, which I think are the Clintons and the Obamas.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
Well, think about where we've de-evolved to, okay? We are now at a point when it was Joe Biden, I would listen to him and I would watch him in the interest of he's the kid trying to swim across the pool, and I don't know if he's going to make it. Like, whenever he would talk, I'm like, I don't know if he's going to be able to land this thing.
Yeah,
okay?
right.
Now, when it comes to Kamala Harris, I'm listening only because I want to see how many times this person swims in a circle.
Yeah, it's watching the train wreck or watching the car crash. You can't look away.
And we've reached the point where I say we've de-evolved. We now have politicians that are completely unable to articulate a message, yet they hold the highest powers of in the country because they're part of a machine. Like, they don't even have to be presentable. They don't even have to be able to present a message. As Rhino told you, Kamala Harris doesn't even have policies on her website, and yet she's running for the most powerful position in the Western world.
But it didn't matter to her voters.
It's de-evolution, man.
Absolutely.
Her voters, I hate to say it, they are a cult. There is nothing I've seen more than, here they sit there, I can't believe Trump is selling playing cards. Tim Walz on Kamala Harris's has no issues, but is selling pennants for a championship football game that he didn't coach in.
Yeah, all right. It's unreal, dude.
Oh, yeah. I do have and I might move forward with this just to see how well it works on you guys. I'm just going to refer to myself from now on as a 4-time NBA champion.
Yeah, like Steph Curry.
Bro, you are.
And see how many people just if you do it long enough.
I recognize your truth.
Long enough, exactly.
I recognize your truth.
Happens.
Well, but even more, I know we're saying we're going to go along with it because that's part of the fun gag. But if you say it long enough, people that have not listened to this show for a long time and don't realize that Lowe's isn't. If they hear it enough,
what are you talking about? I'm a 4-time NBA champion.
If they hear it enough,
do not respect it
with no context, it becomes true.
Look at the rings, fool. Why are you talking about?
Actually, show me the rings. Yes, please do. I'd love to see them.
Hold on, former admiral.
Yeah.
Okay, that you're going with that too.
Yeah, no, well, right. And look, while we're on this same the same wave, we did make Goey Virgin River a captain.
Yeah.
So, that's something else that's going on this show.
This is great.
We have a captain. We have a 4-time NBA champion. We have a world-class chef and Rhino.
That's right.
And a big, dumb hillbilly.
Michelin rated?
No, you used to fly jets in the Navy.
Yeah, paper jets. Paper airplanes.
Tug Coward trained 15 Blue Angels.
That's
some
right.
of the greatest flyers
in the
pilots, aviators. That's what I was looking for. Aviators.
Yeah, he shot Bin Laden.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely, I did. Yeah,
you weren't supposed to say that, though.
Yeah, that's
supposed to be top secret.
That's right. You can't let that out.
We had those classified documents under the desk here.
I've seen 15 Blue Angels before. So does that count? At least there's a shred of honesty.
That's true.
Los has probably seen a whole bunch of championship rings, and his team has probably won.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
yeah.
I know that because when I was getting my green jacket fixed,
That's right.
I saw Carlos's rings.
Former Masters champion.
Scott Rhino, I love it. Jack Smith's Hail Mary is a move to get Donald Trump. Next on the Morning Extra, Tug, Rhino, and Los until 10. 404-741-1230 is the number. Love to hear from you this morning if you got something to get off your chest.
The left-wing media is pushing counterfeit polls and bogus headlines, all while ignoring the stories that matter most. Trust the conservative voice of Atlanta for the real truth without the media spin. The Morning Extra, Glenn Beck, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton, The Kimmer Show, Jesse Kelly, and the voices you need most are all on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
It's going to be an interesting couple of months right here on Extra 106.3.
Oh, you know you want your house to be the envy of the neighborhood. So do I. It is so easy to make it that way. I mean, when you bought your house, you loved it. There was a reason you bought it. You loved it. You thought it was the most spectacular house. Probably been there for a while now. It's like our house. We've been in our house for 10 years, and we're doing a whole bunch of work to it. Thankfully, we have Southern Exteriors to help us along the way with everything on the outside of the home, the doors, the windows, the gutters. They've got it all. And as a matter of fact, with fall just around the corner, you know those leaves are starting to fall? I had to use the leaf blower yesterday because our front yard, we have all trees. Pretty much our whole property is trees. So our whole front yard is nothing but leaves. So I had to get out there and blow that off. Fall's just around the corner. You're probably seeing those leaves drop too. Now's the time with Southern Exteriors to get those gutters cleaned out. Or maybe you want gutter covers so your gutters don't get stopped up. Southern Exteriors got you covered with either or. And if you do a gutter cleaning job, you can get a free roof inspection. While they're up there, may as well check out everything. Maybe you got that little spot in the kitchen or in the hallway. You're just not sure if that leak is going to get worse. Well, I can promise you it's going to get worse because there's no repair. It's just natural. It's what's going to happen. But do you need an entire new roof? Maybe, maybe not. But while they're up there, they can let you know. Get that free roof inspection. Get those gutters cleaned out. Call Southern Exteriors today, 8779-SOUTHERN, 8779-SOUTHERN, southernexteriors.co. It's southernexteriors.co. Quality and precision you can rely on.
Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watch Company, where quality and value make the difference. Locally owned and located in Sandy Springs, offering you the finest selection of unique diamonds, sapphires, rubies, and emerald jewelry, as well as other fine gemstones. Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watches has been servicing Rolex watches for over 30 years, and their Rolex-trained watchmaker will service your watch in their state-of-the-art Rolex service center in their store. Lee Brandt uses only genuine Rolex parts, and their estimates are free. Drop by Lee Brandt in the Trader Joe's Shopping Center in Sandy Springs or visit LeeBrandt.com.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 4 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffer from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. There are lots of competitors that don't have the credentials that I have. When you go to other clinics, you're not going to see a board-certified physician with the experience that I have. When you come to our clinic, you're going to see me. There's just not one therapy that can solve these complex issues. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. Total Body Therapy of Georgia, 404-777-1911, 404-777-1911, online at stopmyed.com.
Hey, it's Tug from my friends, the Frost family of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about their family's company all the time here on Extra 106.3. First Liberty has helped hundreds of small businesses grow by saying yes when the big banks say no. On Wall Street, opportunities to earn big returns are everywhere. But for Main Street investors, those opportunities are hard to find. Until now.
Our First Liberty notes are now open to qualified Main Street investors, paying interest rates of 8 to 13% while helping fuel the growth of small businesses right here in Georgia. With a few basic qualifications and with as little as $25,000, qualified Main Street investors just like you can earn an 8 to 13% interest rate. If this is you, they'd love to hear from you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and consider joining the First Liberty family today. That's FirstLibertyGA.com. FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
The legend Neil Boortz is only on Extra 106.3. With daily commentary you'll hear throughout the day. And he's on live with the Morning Extra every Tuesday morning at 7:30. Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3. And catch all of Neil's commentary on the Extra app.
If you're a college football fan, and who's not a college football fan, the Hail Mary is something... It's your last-ditch effort. And I remember when Tennessee threw a Hail Mary against Georgia, and they won the game in Athens. I was near vomiting. It was awful. It's the worst thing I've ever seen, that puke orange celebrating in the end zone.
Back-to-back Hail Marys, by the way.
Yes.
Georgia scored on one, and then
right.
Tennessee scored.
That's right.
Now,
but the one that Tennessee got is the most important because that's the one that sealed the damn deal.
Yeah,
Sorry,
listen.
Ryan.
No, you're fine. Look, this is a passion that I think we really need to talk about, and that's college football, and I think it's the most important thing right now. Except for me, because I'm a Florida fan, and my season is done anyway. Although I'm excited to see my new quarterback this week because I never liked Graham Mertz. I thought it was a stupid move to bring him over here, but whatever. But Tennessee, I don't like at all. I don't want to say hate. I don't hate anyone. I don't like their fans. I don't like Tennessee. I don't like anything about it. I like Georgia more than I like Tennessee. Tennessee people are awful when it comes to like playing against other SEC schools.
I grew up
so
right
whenever
on that
they
line,
win, I want them to lose every single game.
I grew up right on that Georgia-Tennessee line, so
Yes.
half my family are Tennessee fans. And let me tell you,
We should get rid of them.
Yeah, look, you can't pick
Just
your
own
family.
them.
You can pick your friends. You can't pick your family.
Well, those are the
Cousin
ones that
Curtis,
sell
isn't
meth.
it? Yeah,
no, he's a
Cousin-
George fan.
Oh, yeah, of course he is. Sorry. Trying to help
The
you
one
out
thing
there.
he's gotten right in life is that.
Oh, man.
But the reason I bring the Hail Mary
I guess
up,
it's on Peggy. She's definitely one of those.
She's definitely a Tennessee fan.
Your meth-selling cousin. Oh, no, he's a Georgia fan.
Dude, he's got to get something right. I mean, there's so many things that he gets wrong, and I still love him.
That's
you know,
one, huh?
yeah, but that's the thing. You know, aside from the meth, you know, and jail time and stealing and fraud.
They had good steak.
That's right.
God, one day they're going to put this app on in the Dalton County Prison, and he's going to hear this and come after us.
Well, no, because I think he's fun loving, y'all.
Oh, he is?
I'm telling you.
Oh, good.
He's a party guy.
He's a fun loving criminal.
All right, cool.
He's the one.
I mean, I'll definitely have some beers with him.
Oh, he's like the prostitute with the golden heart.
I would definitely have some beers with him, and
Yes,
I'm like,
you would,
but
dude.
I would say, no, not the meth now. No, Curtis.
Oh, he wouldn't break
this
it out
is
on
not
you.
the time
He just
and place.
sells it.
Not time and place.
He's got all of his teeth. I don't know that he uses it. I just think,
Oh,
I
good
think he
for
just
him.
slings it.
Yeah.
Is my
Just
thing.
slings
He
it.
just slings it. Oh, love your family.
Yeah, dude. Let me tell you have no idea.
From Peeps to Curtis,
Dude,
I love talking about your family.
You have no idea, and Mama and Aunt Peg.
Boy,
and
we are having way too much fun today. We're going to get in trouble.
Yes, most likely we will. But the reason I bring up the Hail Mary, because the Hail Mary is that last-ditch effort. And Jack Smith, he's got the last-ditch effort because he, of course, has filed again against Donald Trump. Trump has pleaded not guilty to renewed charges of 2020 election interference that came down yesterday. And this focuses on the actions he took as the private citizen because they couldn't get him when he was the president because he had immunity.
This is a rush to get motions filed and to allow Jack Smith the ability to get out and influence the election. He wants to get out in front of the press, just like Letitia James and the others, that they're all in cahoots. Fonnie Willis able to get to a church and throw out everything she wants to go ahead and make a jury already make a decision. This isn't going to be a fair trial. Now, Judge Tanya Chunkin, who at this point, we know she's an Obama appointee. I don't think she's been very fair, but she's been fair enough. I mean, the gag order on Trump, I think, was a huge mistake early in this. But the reality of this is this. He wants to be able to tell the public these ridiculous accusations and what they're coming from. But in reality, the whole part of this case is an interaction between Trump and Mike Pence about, hey, can we certify the election? Do we have all this information? We don't know the private interactions or what Smith has on this. But in reality, if a president is talking to his vice president, isn't immunity part of that?
I would think so, Los.
If I happen to be talking about, let's just say, election silliness, all right? Cheating, ballot stuffing, ballot harvesting, in the places where it's legal and where it's not.
Yeah, regular old Democrat stuff.
Right. If I'm talking about that to an audience of, let's say, 100,000 people, am I not interfering with an election according to his standard?
Yes.
This legal standard of a private citizen questioning things that have gone on? Because that's what he's... Because it's now turned into a president has immunity even when he questions the results of an election, but a private citizen does not?
I think they realize that this case is going to go away as quick as it possibly can, and they're going to hold it out as long as they can. And Judge Chunkin yesterday said that, she doesn't care about a timeline. She doesn't care if they rush it or anything else. Of course she doesn't, because she is partisan. I really do believe that Trump will win this election, and the DOJ will not prosecute a sitting president, never has, never will. And that's why they're trying to rush this through if they can get it done before he becomes president, because the left is playing that game that he is authoritarian and that Project 2025 gives him the power to go ahead and make make him more powerful, and will make the DOJ drop the case and never charge him for anything again. That won't happen. They're just trying to create fear, because the truth is they can't prosecute a sitting president, nor would they ever prosecute it. So they need to get this done now.
This is the other thing. It keeps it in the media cycle.
That's it.
That's all Jack
the most
Smith
important
cares.
part.
That's the only thing that matters. The judge, I'm sure she knows that if she's indeed partisan, which, I mean, it appears that she is. She knows that. That's why she doesn't say rush it along. That's why she didn't put some sort of restrictions on it when it comes to a timeline, because they want to milk it as long as they possibly can. How do we keep people from talking about Kamala not talking, or Kamala not having policies, or Kamala being a complete fraud? We talk about Donald Trump being arrested or indicted. That keeps the focus on him and not Kamala. They win.
Carlos, can I ask you a question? What are you more concerned with? The fact that Tim Pool made money from tenant media, or the fact that Jack Smith is using the media to go ahead and influence this election in another different direction?
Yeah, I think a weaponized DOJ is significantly more of a concern than a podcaster getting dollars from somebody that he wasn't sure they were coming from, or he went, all right, I'm partnering up with somebody who's a third-party vendor.
And didn't change his message whatsoever. It was the message he was going to be.
Message.
It's now powered by XYZ company, XYZ media outlet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No different than our hourly sponsors.
You know what's so wild about it? You have a multitude of psych ops that are going. Part of this thing with Jack Smith is so they can claim, hey, look at, we have a convicted felon, and we have this person. He's such a terrible person. How could you possibly vote for him? At the same time, you have the DOJ who basically launched into, hey, look at these people that are giving you this message that are supporting Donald Trump. You can't possibly buy into that mess. There's a multitude of ops here that are all based on strictly winning an election for Kamala Harris.
Totally forget about Hillary Clinton and Russia collusion and all the lies that they told you. But let's go after, a bunch of YouTubers now again.
Exactly.
So stupid.
And don't forget the 32 websites.
Yeah, don't forget about Fang Fang and our actual elected official. Don't forget about what just happened to Kathy Hochul's peoples.
Do not whatever you do. The fight between X and Brazil, part of this global battle for free speech. That is what you'll hear at 10 on the Glenn Beck program right after the Morning Xtra is done. Then Clay and Buck, biggest show at all of conservative media, and our local afternoon show with the Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder, the Kimmer Show, 3 until 6. That's the lineup on Xtra 106.3 that you can't get anywhere else. When we come back, the economic plan Trump has laid out will benefit all Americans.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
The disgusting saga of the 14-year-old school shooter in Winder gets curiouser and curiouser. First of all, the mother, Marcy, has quite the criminal history, it seems. She has a criminal record spanning more than 17 years and 4 counties. Been in jail several times, and there's one charge of family violence in there. And the father has now been charged with second-degree murder. Involuntary manslaughter, 8 counts of cruelty to children. Now, at first glance, why go after the father? Well, the father did say, yeah, there's guns in the house, but they are secured and my son only uses them with adult supervision. Then it turns out that the father bought an AR-15 style rifle for his kid for Christmas last year. Bear in mind that about 7 or 8 months earlier, his son was questioned by authorities about threats to commit a school shooting that he had posted on a gaming site. What do you want to bet the gaming site involved a lot of shooting? Oh, no, the kid says, I was hacked. That wasn't me. And the investigation apparently went no further. Then in light of this, he buys a long rifle for his kid for Christmas. Okay, will the charges hold up? That'll be determined in court. But I like it because it's a message to other parents out there who know that their son or daughter might be troubled, might be a problem, and then go out and buy them a weapon. Maybe across the country, if this gets enough publicity, some other father will say, no, in fact, I'm locking every gun in this house up and watching my kid like a hawk. I don't know, sounds to me like a pretty good case of badly negligent parents who deserve this charge being brought against them. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Your Atlanta Braves are down to the final few series of the regular season, and they need you at Truist Park when the Dodgers come to town, September 13th through the 16th, followed by the Mets, September 24th through the 26th. Fans can look forward to some great giveaways, including the kids' rubber shoe charms for the first 3,000 kids, and the City Connect replica jersey presented by Xfinity for the first 15,000 fans. Visit Braves.com/promos to purchase tickets starting at $9. Atlanta Braves baseball. We are Braves country.
Tune into your new favorite show that's redefining the A to Z's of marketing, the Marketing Mad Men. We'll take you behind the scenes of successful campaigns and reveal the strategies that win. We're not just talking about marketing, we're making it happen. From viral content creation to leveraging AI for customer engagement, our experts bring you to the cutting edge of industry. This is your playbook for market dominance. Tune in and transform your approach with actionable tips that could skyrocket your ROI. The Marketing Mad Men every Saturday at 4 p.m. right here on Extra 106.3.
Hey, it's Flounder, and The Kimmer Show is live every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m.
The Associated Press headline reads, Trump expected to tie Harris to chaotic Afghanistan war withdrawal in speech to National Guard, which prompted Jim Hansen to reply, hate to bust your journalistic bubble, but Kamala tied Kamala to the deadly Afghan cut-and-run tobacco by bragging she was the last person in the room.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app. WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
The student accused of shooting up his Georgia school is due in court this hour. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. 14-year-old Colt Gray.
He is facing 4 charges of felony murder for killing those 4 individuals with an AR-style weapon that law enforcement said his father gave him as a Christmas gift.
Fox's Dana Marie McNichol in Winder, Georgia, says the father, Colin Gray, is facing
the most severe charges ever filed over an alleged shooter: involuntary manslaughter, second-degree murder, and cruelty to children. The 14-year-old was on the FBI's radar last year after tips came in about alleged plans for a school shooting. Local police visited their home and questioned the father and son.
And during that meeting last year, the son denied making threats, and the father told Jackson County deputies
he knows the seriousness of weapons and what they can do and how to use them and not use them.
Hunter Biden faces a second sentencing after the president's son pleaded guilty to tax evasion in federal court in Los Angeles right before jury selection started. His attorney, Abby Lowell, says Hunter Biden decided to change his plea to guilty on all 9 charges to
protect those he loves from unnecessary hurt and cruel humiliation.
Hunter Biden was already convicted on felony gun charges. Former President Trump will be in court in 2 hours in New York, appealing the civil judgment against him, ordering him to pay author E. Jean Carroll for defaming her and denying her claims that Trump sexually assaulted her decades ago. Now, also in New York today, the judge in the Trump criminal case the former president was convicted in will rule on an attempt to delay sentencing. In 4 hours, the former president will hold a news conference the day after saying,
"My plan will rapidly defeat inflation, quickly bring down prices, and reignite explosive economic growth."
But Vice President Harris continues to out-fundraise him big time. She and Democrats raked in $361 million, more than double Trump August fundraising. America's listening to Fox News.
NYPD officer Jonathan Diller's tragic story made national headlines this year. Now, Jonathan was shot and killed by a career criminal during a traffic stop. Jonathan, who is just 31 years old, leaves behind his wife Stephanie and 1-year-old son Ryan. Now, nothing will ever replace the loss of a husband and a father, but the Tunnel to Towers Foundation was able to pay off the mortgage on the Diller family's home. Please commit to $11 a month. Go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
I'm going to let you in on a wireless hack that can cut your cell phone bill in half. Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile want you to believe you need unlimited data. Fact is, most people don't. Pure Talk only charges you for data you need. For just $25 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data, plus mobile hotspot. Stop overpaying for wireless. Dial pound 250 and say Pure Talk to switch easily. And save 50% off your first month with Pure Talk.
Start your mornings the right way with Doug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra. Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station is Extra 106.3.
Download the app so you can listen live and on demand to the Morning Extra. As you start your day, some of the things that you'll hear people talking about around the water cooler or around the cube farm in the office will be the fact that those astronauts have been stuck in space for like 8 months, and they were supposed to be there a week. The vessel they went on, the Starliner from Boeing, is supposed to come home. It's going to fly itself home. It sounds ridiculous to say. It's going to fly itself home today.
There's no way it makes it.
There's not a chance it makes it, dude.
I'm taking bets on the YouTube channel and everywhere else. You guys can respond to us either on, the phone line. You could call Goey. We're not going to put every single one of you on air. You think it'll make it, yes or no?
Yeah, that's right.
Let's put a Twitter poll out there,
that's right.
Goey.
Will Boeing Starliner make it home?
It is really ironic that they had such a huge problem with all the doors and they were being sued, and then they go at the Starliner. Like, why would you even think about using them and Starliner when they've been having so many problems here on Earth?
Federal funding, billions. For Boeing.
Well, I know why Boeing did it, but I'm saying, that's how stupid our government is. Like, hey, guys, we're going to sue you because, a door flew off in the middle of a flight, but hey, what do you guys think about bringing people up to the space station?
Yeah, going to the moon, maybe. What do you think about that? Like, who signed up? Like, those 2 astronauts, which none of us know their name. We probably should, but we have no idea what their name are.
Lady with crazy hair and dude.
And dude. His name's like Barry or something. Yeah,
Barry.
Barry the astronaut.
Barry and Christine.
Yeah, they're stuck up there. And can you imagine, like, being them in their shoes and kind of on what, along with what Rhino's saying, they're like, okay, here's the thing. We're going to let y'all go to the International Space Station for a week. We'll take that new Boeing Starliner thing. And at no point did either one of them go, wait a minute. We're going to do we're doing what now? What are we going in? No, let's don't do that one. Let's go with the one that's been there and been successful. Maybe, why don't y'all call Elon Musk?
Yeah. Can you guys call Elon?
I feel better about going up there. Because, they had to cancel that Starliner trip to the International Space Station 2 or 3 times. And then when it got there, I don't know if y'all heard this. I listened to it at the end of last week. when there was a communication between the International Space Station and my guy Barry, the astronaut.
Butch. Call him Butch.
Is it Butch? Okay.
Butch and Sonny. Those are their nicknames.
What's his real name, though?
Barry.
Okay,
You're right.
Okay.
No, Barry
Okay.
Wilmore, but he's called Butch.
No, Butch. Okay, all
and
right. I'll call him Butch.
Suni Williams.
Right, I'll
call her Suni.
Okay, I'll call him
Butch and Suni.
Butch and Suni.
Like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Yeah, and the Suni Kid.
So Butch, he was talking to the people back at NASA. And he was like, hey, do y'all hear this? It's like a pulsing sound, and we don't know where it's coming from. Did y'all hear the audio? I mean, it was like somebody was taking a hammer and hitting the side of the space station. Ding!
It was
ding,
Elon going, guys, are you going to come or what?
It was this horrible sound. I mean, it was like something a horror movie made in space would be about. And they were like, we have no idea what that sound is. And
that's how Alien starts.
I know. That was that's actually where I was going with this. Like, it would scare you to death to be in the middle of outer space and not know where sounds are coming from.
They're supposed to be there for 1 week. I mean, obviously
there for that.
They didn't pack for this, but this was a test flight, by the way.
Do you have enough soap? If you're planning to go,
do you care?
I would think you'd probably not want to be that filthy. 8 months, I'd want to take a bath in 8 months, yes.
If you're Barry and Suni's like significant others back on Earth, are you like,
what
are you guys doing up there?
Well, or what's the likelihood of you coming home? Do we need to make plans?
Yeah, that too. I assume they're going to come home.
But
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I didn't think about that. I'm just wondering about is like Barry's wife like, yeah,
8 months,
getting all jealous.
8 months is a long time.
Or do you think that he looks at it as like this is one great big break? Like, he left for a week and he's like, I'll be gone for a week.
Like he's conservative,
and
and his wife's like a big AOC lover.
Yeah, he's like,
she's just like AOC, and he's like, "Whoo, guys, hey, Elon, don't come yet.
Take your time. Make sure everything is
leave
safe.
me here."
I'd actually like to stay here. Good no.
I feel so bad for these guys.
I do too, man. But nobody knows their name. Everybody feels so bad, but nobody even knows who they are. So
10 years ago, this would have been like we would have been checking. They'd been on the Today Show. They'd be on every news station. They'd be checking in with them because they have the access to do it.
I've seen some social media posts from them where they shared some of their experiences in their 8 months that they've been at the International Space Station. So anyway, well, that's one thing. The other thing, mail-in ballots going out today in North Carolina is another topic to probably come up. And finally, the NFL started back up last night, and it's big times for a lot of people that really enjoy the NFL. And I know you guys watch. I'm not an NFL fan, but it started last night, and the Kansas City Chiefs got a win. It was
Brittany Mahomes' husband did a good job.
That's exactly right.
That's what I'm going to start calling him.
That's Brittany's husband.
Yeah,
I like that.
Brittany's husband.
Yeah, and but no, good game though, right, Lowe's?
Yeah, definitely a good game. It came down to the last play of the game, and Baltimore thought they tied it in the last few seconds, and it turns out the tight end barely stepped on the end line. Like, as he caught it, he came down with like a toe out of bounds. So rather than 27-27 going to overtime, it was 27-20, and the Chiefs won. So a really fun finish.
I love that. Good game. Another thing I want you to hear this morning is Donald Trump talking about how he's going to improve your life again, just like he did in the first 4 years that he had. And that is when he makes the government small again. That is going to be fantastic. And what does he plan to do that very thing?
I am promising low taxes, low regulations, low energy costs, low interest rates, secure borders, low crime, and surging incomes for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. My plan will rapidly defeat inflation, quickly bring down prices, and reignite explosive economic growth. Kamala Harris will take more money out of American pockets. My plan will leave the typical family with many thousands of dollars more than they have right now.
Because right now, families are hemorrhaging money. So anytime I get good news or some sort of vision, just give me some sort of vision, some sort of plan of what you're going to do to turn this gigantic economy around. We know we're hemorrhaging jobs. We are on the precipice of a recession. We've probably been in a recession the whole time, but even the Fed is really, really nervous. They're thinking about dropping the interest rate by 0.5%. And the last time that happened, though, it put us into a really bad economic situation. So even they know something bad's coming. We're losing jobs. Donald Trump at least has a vision on how to get us back in the right direction.
Well, Carlos, we've been talking about this for almost 2 years, maybe 3.5 years now. I mean, it's been so long that we've been talking about how the Fed is just kicking this down the road. They're not actually handling this correctly by raising the interest rates because they're going to have a hard time coming back to them, based on just basic economics. We've heard from so many throughout the years about why we're at where we are today. So now, we're going to get a 0.25% cut, and it's going to be a huge victory for the Biden-Harris campaign, and they're going to play that up like, hey, just keep going. In 10 years from now, we might get it down to almost 2% again. The reality of it is this. Donald Trump's had a good plan. 4 years ago, when he was still in charge, our numbers look good. We weren't paying as much for products and gas and everything else. They can say what they want about COVID being the reason for it, but it's not. It's the way they handled the economy. It's the way they handled the supply chain, and it's the way they got rid of energy that's caused all these prices to rise.
Well, the Fed has very limited options when it comes to what they're able to do, and their primary weapon is obviously the interest rates. All right, so you've slowed inflation by giving us the highest interest rates we've seen since the late 70s. All right, so that's the first and foremost. Is inflation gone? No, we're still all dealing with it. There's no negative inflation. The only way to curtail this stuff is by growing the pie. And that's what Donald Trump is talking about doing as far as energy and a lot of our other resources. The other side, Kamala Harris, has no interest in growing the pie because that's not what they're looking to do. They're just looking to create more regulation.
And that's what they will do. There's no doubt about it. She has stated more over and over and over again the way she feels about growing the economy. She says she's going to make it better for anybody and everybody, but she's given not one way. They've to the point. Then they've been in charge the entire time. I'm going to fix it. Yeah. Arms to the side. Rhino, I'm going to fix it.
The reality
Why
of
don't you fix it now?
Yeah, exactly. Why weren't you fixing it? Because you don't know how. Because they didn't want to deal with the supply. They didn't want to deal with the fact that, hey, if we had supply, we don't need to print dollars. And if we don't need to print dollars, we won't have this problem. But if we actually push supply, we don't have to worry about the inflated rates anymore. But instead, they went to cutting and adding to interest rates, which caused more of a problem rather than fixing supply. Donald Trump and Elon Musk had a wonderful, wonderful interview on X. They had a great time just talking back and forth. Let's call it what it was, a conversation. But Elon Musk at that point, this is why you need to have somebody like Donald Trump in office. Donald Trump allowed Elon Musk to explain to people why printing money and why these numbers are inflated. It's not because of the way that, COVID or Donald Trump or anyone else, the way the left wants to distract. Here's the reality of what's happening. And that's the first time I heard anybody explain it perfectly the way Elon Musk did to the American people.
Well, the problem was, and we've talked about this before, when you look at the government spending in 2020, that was in the interest of it's a pandemic, we're having people stay at home, we're closing economies, all the things that were not done correctly. Okay, so let's just get that out of the way.
And you can blame Donald Trump for that too.
And listen, a lot of it falls right at his feet and what Congress and he decided to do. With that being said, the problem is that the baseline for spending, according to what then the Democrats looked at it as, well, if you're willing to spend this in 2020, we'll spend this in 2021. We'll spend this into 2022.
That's right in our wheelhouse.
Sure. And so we didn't have the money to do that. That had to be printed and spent. That's what created your inflationary environment. Had we just treated 2020 as an emergency and then curtailed the spending, we would not be dealing with the stuff we're dealing with now.
And that's part of the mishandling of what the Biden administration has done. But that wasn't done by accident. They didn't just make a mistake by doing that. They've done this on purpose, and they continue to do this. The one thing you know about the federal government is they throw out budgets, and they say, hey, here's your budget. Use all the money.
Right, because we're going to take it away from you if you don't. That was the way it was in the Navy. They would say, we have to spend this money because if we don't, we'll lose it for next year.
And meanwhile, you've got laptops, cases, and boxes, and pallets of them stuck away in storage that they bought just because they needed to get past that budget and they needed to get that number. And they need to be able to get to the point where they can go next year, hey, We need more money now. We need more money. And, the VA, everybody else does it, and they should. And that's the part of the actually, the VA, it's opposite. So many veterans, and I'm going to say this right now. I know there are a lot of veterans that never were in a wartime situation, and they don't take their benefits at all. And you don't use them, and a lot of them use them. That's the opposite of what they're the ones that are getting suffering because the government's the first one to say, well, none of these guys are using the budget, so we're going to go ahead and cut it back when we do have some heroes that are coming back and they're not being taken care of. That's the opposite. The federal government, on the other hand, is like, hey, $200 toilet seats? Absolutely. Keep buying them, keep buying them, keep buying them. So next year we even have a bigger budget. And the Democrats, that's what they continuously do and put us behind the 8 ball.
The government has basically, and this has gone on now for the better part of a decade, the number has been basically you can spend $5 trillion. And it's gotten to the point where it was $5.3 trillion. You could basically spend 20% of our GDP. And so politicians fight over how much of the pie they get. That's just how the game goes. But by the time we hit 2020, we went from $5.3 trillion in spending to, under COVID, 7.72. All right, that is a monstrous jump. That has never happened in terms of like that kind of expenditure from one year to the next. By the following year, when the Democrats were in charge, it was $7.6 trillion. They're able to say, we cut a little bit, but we're now talking about $7 trillion. Now, keep in mind, it's now gone down a little bit, but we're now in the $6 trillions. We basically created the scenario in 2020 based on an emergency, and we broke all the rules of what we typically do, which is 5 trillion, 5.3 trillion. Y'all figure out how you want to spend it.
And who is the person to correct this? Do you think the Democrats who want to spend their tax and spend, it's what they do, who's better in position to fix this? Is it a Democrat like Kamala Harris? Or is it a businessman like Donald Trump? It should be so obvious, yet to so many people, half the country, it's not.
Yeah, and this is where we need to really break down. And I wish people were smarter about going into numbers. But again, half this country is all about joy and everything else and not realizing the truth about how the world works. Whether they like it or not, this is a really messed up world. Oil drives this world. And they've continued to do it.
But
and
energy,
what they've done,
right?
energy in general.
Yeah.
But
oil is the number one.
That's your number one energy. I mean, they want to make it EV. They want to make that energy to be the number one because they have so many partners in that and they can line everybody's pockets.
But it's failing miserably.
It's failing miserably. The realization of what Donald Trump did and kept and made sure, because for a long time we didn't have enough in our strategic petroleum reserve, and a lot of that is what we need. And at that point he kept it up to about 700,000 barrels. As soon as Biden came in, they went through that just to fix policy, and this is where their mishandling of the government continued to go. Now you're down in the strategic preserve as of today, half of that, about 300,000 barrels, and Biden used that only for political reasons. Harris was using it only for political reasons. They eliminated the need for the oil when we need it for an emergency in case of any storms. Luckily, we haven't had any hurricanes. I know the climate crazies are like,
they're supposed to be
the worst.
It was supposed to be, seriously, it's supposed to be like 37, 33, 34, 35, except we'll say 35 because I can't remember the exact number. There's supposed to be 35 named storms this year. If we were to get to that number, we would have to have a major storm every 2 days until the end of hurricane season.
Yeah, and if you actually look at all the numbers, then they want to play with the whole environment. 1989, way hotter summer than this. So all the lies that they're going to continue to tell you, they could keep playing the games. But the reality of it is this: they destroyed our energy. And again, Jan 20, 2021, the worst day in American history. It's what caused
most
all
impactful,
of this.
No doubt.
Yeah, it's what caused every single problem we're facing today economically.
This is Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station. 8 o'clock hours brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier experts. 770-GET-HEAT. CentralHeat.com is their website. When we come back, Hunter Biden has pleaded guilty, and the reason should be very obvious. Next on Extra 106.3. The Kimmer Show is only on Extra 106.3 every weekday afternoon on your drive home.
President John F. Kennedy would have hated today's Democrat Party. John F. Kennedy was a business. He said what's good for General Motors is good for America. He was a whole different kind of Democrat. And he would be proud of Robert Kennedy Jr.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Hey, it's Tug from my friends, the Frost family of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about their family's company all the time here on Extra 106.3. First Liberty has helped hundreds of small businesses grow by saying yes when the big banks say no. On Wall Street, opportunities to earn big returns are everywhere. But for Main Street investors, those opportunities are hard to find. Until now. Our First Liberty notes are now open to qualified Main Street investors, paying interest rates of 8 to 13% while helping fuel the growth of small businesses right here in Georgia. With a few basic qualifications and with as little as $25,000, qualified Main Street investors just like you can earn an 8 to 13% interest rate. If this is you, they'd love to hear from you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and consider joining the First Liberty family today. That's FirstLibertyGA.com. FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Back to school means back to traffic in Atlanta. If traffic mishaps land you in trouble with the law, it's important to know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds. We handle bonds from local to federal for any jail in any city. And in most cases, we can have you or your loved one out in a matter of hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT. That's 404-BAIL-OUT. Or online at atlbail.com.
What's up, Atlanta? It's Ben Burnett, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show. Each and every weekend, right here on Extra 106.3, we unpack all the week's events. We talk about all the issues with a local Atlanta-based flavor. You can catch me each and every weekend, Saturdays at 2 and Sundays at noon. If you ever miss an episode, you can go to the podcast park or wherever you download all of your content, and I'll be right there. Thanks for listening to the Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Butler Snow.
In theaters now, Reagan returns to office.
We are the greatest country in the world. We have just forgotten it.
You can run from a bully for so long, but after a while, you're going to have to stand up to him. I am about to start the biggest war of this century.
You told me you wanted to make a difference in this world.
What would you have me do?
I want you to fight!
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Reagan in theaters now. Rated PG-13. May not be suitable for children under 13.
I enjoy a good night's sleep, and I like to breathe while I'm sleeping. My wife appreciates that, too. That's why I wear a CPAP. You want the right machine. You want expert advice. You want all the supplies that go with it. You get it all at CPAPs, etc. in Alpharetta. Machines, masks, tubing, filters, cleaning supplies, all of it, and they ship nationwide. Walk-ins, by the way, are welcome. CPAPs, etc. Alpharetta, CPAPSETC.com.
This September, Diamonds Direct's ultimate offer is back, stronger than ever. Diamonds Direct helps you get the perfect jewelry gift with 0% interest. That's right, enjoy 5 years of 0% financing on any Diamonds Direct purchase. It's your chance to get her the perfect ring with 0 interest and comfortable monthly payments that fit your budget. But act fast. This offer ends September 30th. For details and more, visit DiamondsDirect.com. Spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest on approved credit. Only at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Media Minute with Howard Kurtz.
There was a time when heavy media coverage of the Hunter Biden case was a significant factor in this year's election, particularly as Republicans tried to tie President Biden to his son's global buckraking around the world in an effort to show that President Biden had done something wrong. Hunter Biden went to trial in Delaware on gun charges. He lost. He's a convicted felon. But yesterday, the president's son stunned the courts, the prosecutor, really the whole country, by changing his plea, pleading guilty or attempting to plead guilty to tax evasion charges in Los Angeles. Now, maybe he just wanted to spare his family the ordeal of going through all that testimony again. And maybe he just thought he could get a better deal. But the media don't seem to have as much interest now that his father isn't running. With your Media Minute, Howie Kurtz, Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Friday, September 6th. GBI Director Chris Hosey announced the arrest of 54-year-old Colin Gray, the father of 14-year-old Colt Gray, who is the suspected Appalachia High School shooter. According to Director Hosey, Colin Gray is being charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children. Hosey stated that the charges stem from Mr. Gray knowingly allowing his son to possess a weapon. Colt Gray is expected to make his first court appearance this morning, beginning right now at 8:30. He and his father both in court at the same time. According to the Georgia Department of Juvenile Justice, Colt will appear virtually at the Supreme Court hearing in Barrow County from inside the Gainesville Regional Youth Detention Center. The 14-year-old, who will be tried as an adult, is facing 4 counts of felony murder. And in sports, the Atlanta Braves have now dropped into a tie with the New York Mets for the final National League wildcard spot after falling to the Colorado Rockies 3-1 last night. The Braves will host the Toronto Blue Jays in a 3-game series that begins tonight at Truist Park. Max Fried will be on the mound for the Braves. First pitch scheduled for 7:20. You can catch all the action on our sister station, 680 The Fan.
So bad. So bad. We're tied with the Mets. It's for a wild card spot. The dirty, rotten, stinking, no good for nothing Mets.
At this point, like,
just get in the playoffs.
Get out.
Just get in the playoffs.
I don't care.
Just get in the playoffs and
get out.
It's like 24 games to go. It's like they're all gut wrenching at this point.
I know.
I just fell off a bandwagon.
Oh man, I never will. I'll be watching to the end.
I blame Comcast and Bally.
It had to be their fault.
Yeah, it's totally their fault. If they could have just I just totally have stopped watching Braves games because I forget now that I can go back and watch them because it's been off for me for so long that it really did kind of just disenfranchised me from even wanting to watch baseball. I was so upset, and I think they ruined this entire season because of their ridiculous, petty little contract disputes.
Could be. Now, does that mean all the college football is going to be ruined? Because in my house, we've lost ESPN and we've lost everything.
Every Disney-related channel is gone.
It's gone like a freight train, gone like yesterday. Nothing doing. It's terrible news.
That's horrible.
It is. It is. So I'm going to give it another week, maybe give it another week, and if it don't start straightening out, man, when like this weekend's Georgia, Middle Tennessee State, right?
You can't give up. I mean, miss that one. Who cares?
Well, you got Tennessee Tech. Yeah, that's who you're playing, but the whole family of ABC Disney is no longer available there.
Well, what did I say? Did I say Middle Tennessee? I didn't mean to. Yeah. Tennessee Tech. Sorry about
Tennessee
that.
Tech.
Don't go after Tennessee Tech that way.
I didn't mean to. And we knew a family that their kid was wide receiver for that program a few years ago.
Yeah, we got a family friend playing volleyball there. Okay. Respect that Tennessee Tech.
Absolutely, man. Didn't mean to call it MTSU. By no means.
Man, you're so disrespectful.
I know. So anyway, going to give that a day or two, but man, after that, going to start.
That's it.
Shopping.
You're going to start shopping?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Listen, I mean, you can't give up on college football. That's impossible.
No, it's terrible.
That's impossible.
And this is my favorite time of year as far as sports go because you have baseball headed to the playoffs when it matters the most. Every game, like Los was saying, is gut wrenching. And then college football, it's my favorite. Those are my two favorite
There's nothing better than fall for me. I love this cooler weather. And, this is the first time I'm going to be excited to watch a Florida game. I mean, because we got Samford.
Yeah, right. You get the
I feel good about this game. I really feel like, before we go to Texas A&M, this is a big warm-up game and new quarterback. We're going to get out there and really fight against Samford. The Samford Bulldogs.
I mean, Florida's a 4-point favorite. We're good to go here.
That's right. Let's go. You'll beat the Bulldogs, and you'll be cheering against old Ben Burnett.
Man, I might give those 4 points.
Our guy Ben Burnett was a Sanford tennis player. He played tennis on scholarship down there. He's a huge Bulldogs fan. So,
look, Samford really struggled with West Georgia, so I feel pretty good about Florida.
Let me see. I'm just taking a look over the schedule, and you do have, let's see, Florida is listed as,
you know see what? How bad it looks?
The line isn't actually listed on here on ESPN.com. That's different.
Wow.
Here are our last 5 games, okay, including Miami. We just got our butts kicked by Arkansas, LSU, Mizzou, and, of course, FSU.
Mm-hmm. And FSU's not good. So
that was FSU's last win.
Oh, my. Well, there you go.
I can't find a line for this anywhere. Like the betting websites and everything else.
Why would that happen, Lois? Because I don't keep up with betting. You know,
typically,
it's
like
a pick 'em.
Okay. Typically, a lot of it is when you do have like a quarterback change, coaching change, stuff like that, and so sometimes it comes off the board until they reestablish what the line's going to be.
What's the likelihood that Napier does not make it through the end of the season?
Listen, so I follow a lot of the Florida guys, and when we were doing the college football shows and Carlos and I over on the other station, like I became, really good friends with a lot of the local writers and talking to them. They call him the interim coach.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So he's probably not going to make it to the end of the season.
Yeah.
To that point. Yeah. All right.
Look, he's got to look. DJ Lagway, that's the kid that everybody's looking forward to. He's supposed to be the future for the Gators. I hope he comes out, freshman. And he's a 5-star guy. I hope he just lights it up as quarterback. But at the same time, if they don't really perform good against Samford, I think you get rid of him now.
Yeah,
I haven't seen. I've never look. It's not that I don't like the man Billy Napier as a man.
Personal.
I think he's a horrible coach. When they hired him, I said, I'm out. I just don't want any part of this. You had so many better options out there, and this is who you pick. Graham Mertz was a joke, man.
Well, Napier went into the year as the betting favorite to be the first coach fired.
Yeah.
He's on his way.
So that with Sam Pittman just behind him over at Arkansas.
Yeah.
So it was a race between the two.
Well, come on, Napier, win something.
Yeah, right.
Napier had the odds on that.
Win the getting fired sweepstakes.
Win that one.
That's awful. If you can't watch college football like me because I got stupid DirecTV stream, Smyrna Public Safety Foundation's Hot Rods and Heroes Car Show and Battle of the Badges softball game is going on tomorrow between 10 and 3 at Smyrna First Baptist Church. It all benefits the Public Safety Foundation. They got Touch a Truck. They got the Battle of the Badges ball game between the police department and fire department between 10 and 11:30. The Heroes and Hot Rods car show going straight up until at 10 until 2. Awards go down at 2. If you got a car you'd like to get in there last minute, maybe win you a nice award, then register at extra1063.com/hotrod. It's extra1063.com/hotrod. And there'll be food there all day long.
I'm so hungry.
Touch a Truck, me too. Touch a Truck and all that cool stuff. It's just a great day, something to do. Get the kids out of the house, and you can keep up with college football on your phone.
This is the first event that I'm going to go out tomorrow to, and my son's like, "Can I go?" And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, because he's so excited about. He loves cars, so the hot rod thing is huge to him. He loves the police and the firefighters, so he's really excited about the Touch a Truck and the idea about going around and seeing that. He's all excited about going there. I'm good, man. Cool, finally.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop out there for a little while too. I think it'll be a great day. I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun, and you always say you back the blue. Now's the time to show it. Go out there and support those folks, the EMS, fire department, and our police too. Morning Extra and Extra 106.3, 8 o'clock hours brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert, 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. Hunter Biden pleaded guilty yesterday to tax fraud, and then, of course, he switched his plea right as jury selection was coming down, and now he's facing 17 years in prison, fines up to $1.3 million, sentencing scheduled for December 16th. He was charged last year 9 counts of tax evasion, alleging over $1 million in federal taxes. How did they get Al Capone? It wasn't for being a gangster. It was on tax fraud. So just keep that in mind. Prosecutors say he counted strip clubs, rent, and children's tuition as business expenses. There's a couple that I could be, okay, that's a mistake. You didn't mean to, whatever. But the strip club? How do you mix that one up?
I spent too much money on rocks. Yeah. Dude, crack rocks, man. I'm sorry. Look, this whole thing was a lie, a joke, and everything else. And, he evaded paying taxes, and yet what they realized was, but you could afford flying prostitutes across the country. Yep. That's human trafficking. You're able to buy a gun, apparently. You're able to spend your money on drugs. You're able to spend your money at strip clubs. These are huge problems when it comes to not paying your taxes. He decided that he was going to change his plea because what ended up happening was he wanted to go for the Alford plea, which basically means that you say, hey, you got plenty to put me away. I'm going to plead innocent, but go ahead and sentence me anyway. And the DOJ said no, because in reality, they don't have to, and it's only accepted in really extreme circumstances, not in a case like this. So he obviously needed to plead guilty at this point or fight it out. And the reality...
go ahead, Russ.
Go ahead.
Well, but also, remember, Dad's only in office for a few more months.
That's exactly right.
You got to get this thing over with.
Yeah. And that was
Can't
the
have
point.
this thing lingering.
Yeah, because what would have happened would be they'd just keep going on because there are so many motions that both David Weiss, the special counsel, and, of course, the lawyers for Hunter Biden, Abby Lowell and them, are trying to push through. They know that this trial will get pushed back past the time where his father might even be out of office, and then what's that do for him? I don't care what the White House says. They haven't told me one thing that's true in the first place. So when they say that they're not going to pardon him, I don't believe it. When they say that, oh, no, yeah, also, they're not going to commute the sentence, I don't believe them. I believe fully that the reason that they did this was go ahead and sentence me right away. Go ahead.
Because it's going to be commuted and pardoned.
Right. And one of the two things that you know is this, again, this judge is going to look at it and say, hey, listen, you already paid the taxes back. You've already done this, and he might get leniency. So maybe you're thinking that way.
And I'm sure the DOJ is working on that.
Yeah, of course they'll help with that. But the other thing is they know that, hey, if we get this done before Dad's out of office, we already made the deal. That's why Dad stepped down. Someone's going to pardon him or someone's going to commute the sentence. Maybe it won't be Joe. Maybe they will remove Joe and Kamala will be like, I'll do it.
Yeah, she's going to do it. Absolutely. Somebody's going to do it. There's no question about it.
But it's always on the way out of office.
Yeah, right.
That's the nature of how this works. Pardons are handed out on the way out of office. And so I firmly believe he's like, I got to get this thing, probably on advice from his attorneys and understanding what's going on with the White House. Let's get this over with. Dad's out of office in now, 4 months, 5 months?
Yeah.
All right. This is what's going to happen on his way out.
And on top of that, if they would have went to trial, Joe would have been exposed. Joe would have been exposed for everything that was happening. And all of that would be going everywhere. Can you imagine the things that would be uncovered? It would be unbelievable. And then the damning evidence against Joe and the damning evidence against Kamala, good God, Rhino, that stuff would be everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
That would sink the entire Democrat ship.
Yeah, I mean, look, they have to play this really smart at this point. I mean, in reality, we should let Hunter Biden just kind of go by the side. Shouldn't worry about it. Let the powers to be take care of this. Let David Weiss and them work this out. This isn't a political thing we need to get involved in because right now it's about taxes. And at the same time, I think it would be funny if Donald Trump were the one who got into office and then actually was like, you know what, I'm going to pardon him because we've seen the weaponization of the government. This is something that they upgraded to a felony. The DOJ's got to be worked out and use both sides of it. I don't think that would ever happen.
No, dear God.
But at the same time, he pleaded guilty. Go ahead and sentence him. Let's see, because this judge is an appointee of Donald Trump. This is somebody who is not a friend of Hunter Biden or the Biden family. I'd love to see what he does because I think it is important that he's pled guilty. He gets the appropriate sentence. Should be at least 34 convictions. I don't know. Convict him in the most
nothing.
No.
How much do you want to bet he gets? Absolutely nothing. I'd be willing to bet my whole paycheck on it.
I would too.
There's not a thing that's going to happen to him. That was, like Rhino said a minute ago, that was all part of Joe stepping down. This has all been worked out. It's all been resolved. We know the DOJ's corrupt. We know Biden's corrupt. We know Hunter's corrupt. It's all worked out already. So just don't fall into the trap of thinking something good's coming out of this.
It was in the text messages. You had Hunter Biden explaining that the reason why he's getting the treatment he's getting versus, let's say, Bobolinsky, it's because his name's Biden.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it. He
knows
always
get
knows
that.
how this is going to go. Yeah.
I mean, look, he's already got the gun charge. We're still got to wait on sentencing on that. I think that's going to be worse than this one for him. But again, I don't expect them to really, I expect them to be lenient even on the gun charge.
And the thing
sentencing wise.
Think about the timing on this too. And Loshi brought it up a little bit. The sentencing December 16th. Who's paying attention to the news December 16th? it'll just be us on this show and you know the news outlets. People are checked out, man. They're ready to celebrate Christmas. They're ready for some time off.
Regardless of how this goes.
It's almost like this works out so perfectly for them. It's almost like dropping those bad jobs reports at 5 o'clock on a holiday weekend.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, we won't even care about it probably at that point. Even if Kamala Harris wins, it goes away.
No question about it. Morning Extra at Extra 106.3. When we continue next, a Joe Rogan guest will tell you why Democrats are so behind voting by mail. Next on Extra 106.3.
Atlanta radio legends, proud military vets, national network experts are all on Extra 106.3.
It's going to be an interesting couple of months.
With live and local shows in the morning and afternoon, and the biggest conservative hosts in the country throughout the day. We are always here with the latest news and opinions you need.
There's no chance if the media and the Department of Justice and social media are all against you.
No traffic interruptions, no former shock jocks, just Atlanta legends you've turned to for a generation. The conservative voice of Atlanta. Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
Yes, it's a little bit cooler now than it has been, but don't be mistaken. We got some hot days ahead. Don't let that get you down. Enjoy fall as we head toward it, but you got to stay cool with Carrier products and Central Heating and Air Conditioning. Their Carrier systems are designed to keep you comfortable even during the hottest days. Remember, when you're watching football, some of these football games that you'll either go to or watch on TV, you're going to see the heat coming down all the way through late October. Just the way it works around here. So just stay comfortable, even during hot days. Advanced cooling technology, you'll enjoy a refreshing home no matter what the temperature is outside. Right now, you can save up to $2,000 on new Carrier systems. That's right, $2,000 to ensure that you're cool in your home. Plus, Carrier systems come with excellent warranties for added peace of mind. At Central Heating and Air Conditioning, they pride themselves on better service through technology. Turn to your Atlanta Carrier experts. 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com, 770-GET-HEAT, or centralheat.com.
One of the hardest things to do is to walk away from a paycheck. As retirement planners, Masterplan knows how hard it can be to pull the trigger on your own retirement. Don't go it alone. Masterplan is a holistic retirement planning firm that works with you to create a retirement plan to help maximize your golden years. Through income planning and money management, legacy planning, and tax planning, we create a plan specifically designed for your life. Enter retirement with confidence. Contact Masterplan to analyze your retirement outlook and create a plan that's right for you. All initial consultations are complimentary, so contact us today and begin your pursuit towards peace of mind. Visit masterplanretire.com. Masterplan Retirement Consultants. Plan well and prosper.
Advisory services offered through Masterplan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Masterplan Retirement Consulting. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
CETA Information Network and Computing USA, Inc. seeks senior infrastructure engineer in Atlanta, Georgia. Design, implement, maintain, and support IT infrastructure services in accordance with business and functional requirements using appropriate CETA standards, policies, and processes across multiple projects. Must be willing to travel 40% of time domestically and 30% of time internationally. This is a fully remote position reporting to CETA company headquarters. The individual performing this role must be willing to travel and work remotely from airport locations located throughout the U.S. To apply, email resume to roberto.bonilla@sita.aero.
What's the mystery behind Mystery Valley Golf Course? Is it the fact that it's been voted one of Atlanta's must-play courses? Or is it the fact that it's conveniently located from anywhere in Atlanta? Or maybe it's because Mystery Valley has recently renovated the course, adding all new tipped Bermuda putting greens, upgrading all 66 sand bunkers, and improving the clubhouse and amenities all around. No matter what it is, Mystery Valley Golf Club has been a staple of the Atlanta golf community for many years, and it reopened with the new renovations. Now is the perfect opportunity to make a tee time and enjoy a round of golf at Mystery Valley, located next to Stone Mountain in Lithonia, taking all of the beautiful natural scenery while enjoying a fantastic round of golf. Go to mysteryvalleygolfcourse.com to book tee times. But one question will always remain: how did Mystery Valley get its name?
This is House Call for Health. A new study finds false positive mammogram results could discourage women from scheduling a follow-up. The study by the University of California, Davis Comprehensive Cancer Center analyzed data on more than 3.5 million mammogram screenings performed nationwide from 2005 to 2017. The results show only 61% of women who receive a false positive return for a second screening, with Asian and Hispanic women the least likely to return, which could lead to health disparities. The report says false positives occur in 10 to 12% of mammograms in women in their 40s. Doctors are reminding women that getting a callback for additional testing does not mean you have cancer, and it's critical for women to return for regularly scheduled screenings. The CDC recommends those at average risk for breast cancer get a mammogram every 2 years for women between the ages of 50 and 74. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health, I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Your voice, your vote. And this year it matters more than ever. So for the unbiased election coverage that affects your family and your community, trust the voices that matter when it matters the most. Xtra 106.3 and the Xtra app.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra on Xtra 106.3. Colt Gray is in court already. We've just seen the video and the monitors here in the studio, and it's one of those things where he is he's from a broken home. We know that he is from a home that with a mother that has a laundry list of petty crimes all the way through more serious crimes, and the dad, of course, has been charged too. We'll keep a watch on it because this is going to be. This could set a precedent.
Yes.
And that's the thing that I see by charging the dad. Setting a precedent to use lawfare against the Second Amendment. This is nothing more than, hey, how do we undermine the Second Amendment in America? This is what this is for. It's not for any other reason that I can tell.
They're trying to come up with a way to put away parents, especially if they're more conservative. The Crumleys were the first to see this. This isn't the first time parents have been charged. The Crumleys were charged and are doing time now because of it. Colt Gray is going to do his time as a 14-year-old, but so will Colin Gray, because they are going to go after him, because they are going to hold him responsible for the deaths of these people. He's 14 years old. He wasn't raised right. He's got horrible family. There's no doubt about it. But to go ahead and I don't know Colin Gray. I assume he's not a very good person. I assume that he should never be raising a child. Neither should his mother, from the reports that I've read and from what we've heard from his aunt. But the reality of it is this. We are going down a slippery slope of who can we blame. Because
how do we use it to undermine the Second Amendment? Because that's the goal of the left.
Yeah, I mean, how are we going to use exactly? They want to take away your right to own assault weapons. That's what they want. They want what they call weapons of war. They want to take away the AR-15. They want to take away the ability for you to defend yourself against the government. That's what they're afraid of. That's the whole thing about Donald Trump. He represents the people, and this all is in line with exactly what they want, which is control. They don't want to. They can't control you if you have weapons in your home, and they know that.
There's only one aspect that they bring up that I agree with a little bit. Okay, I don't. Some of their red flag laws and some of the stuff they try to come up with, I sit back and I'm like, all right, that's never going to work. But when they do bring up properly securing your firearms, that's the one aspect where that's how I've always viewed it, that a responsible gun owner properly secures their firearm, and that does include, in my mind, I would never give a firearm to somebody who's having mental issues.
Oh, yeah. No, and I understand that, and I do. But from that rationale, my dad, God rest his soul, was not a responsible firearm owner, because I had shotguns and rifles that I used to hunt when I was a kid in my bedroom. I had the guns that were passed down from my grandfather in my bedroom.
And 99.9% of the time, they're never going to be a problem.
Right, absolutely.
But it's the way you were raised is a lot differently the way this kid was raised.
I get it, but if you're able to say that man is guilty for this, then then my dad's guilty too because he did the exact same thing. He had unsecured.
But you didn't shoot anybody, Tug.
I know that. I know that. But it doesn't change the fact that my dad did the same thing. He gave me for Christmas a shotgun.
This is why I think Kamala Harris should be in prison right now. She should be arrested on every person that she allowed to set free that killed somebody, used an illegal weapon, and killed someone. She should be charged with every single one of those crimes. She had the ability to keep those people in jail, yet she let them out. That's the kind of slippery slope we're talking about. Should she be charged for, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of murders? Absolutely. At this rate, yes. But I'm with Carlos.
Let's stay on topic.
We got to come up with No, this is on topic because you know what? This is a slippery slope. We can make decisions based on this.
Has nothing to do with a 14-year-old teenager shooting people at Georgia High School.
What I'm saying is we can all take anything that a 14-year-old, a 12-year-old in Atlanta who went and shot somebody because, there are so many different ways. Every child could be locked up or every parent could be locked up of child's decisions, no matter what. We need to make sure that we are looking at this. I'm with Carlos on the fact that we need to come up with a way to make sure that you do get punished some way or another. It should be more civil, and you should be sued, and you should probably lose everything you own if somebody's life is taken because of this. But I think throwing somebody away for manslaughter because of something else somebody did, we need more information before we make this, but I think we're going down the wrong slope on this one.
I think a lot of this comes back to, and this is according to all the reporting out there, that you already had the FBI and local authorities looking into this kid. Right. And so there was already red flags out there. They already had the belief that this might be going this way. So by the time that they went into this a year ago and had assurances from reports from the dad of like, no, he totally understands what he's doing. It's totally not a threat here. So by the time it does happen, maybe if I'm an authority, the first thing I'm looking at is going, hey, butthead, I showed up to your house to tell you that this is what was going to happen, and you still helped enable this to happen.
Yeah. No, I understand where you come from. I really do. But I don't know that this is going to be prosecuted with the intentions of curing that problem. It is going to be deeper. It is going to be how do we undermine the Second Amendment using this like lawfare. That's the way I see it. And maybe that's the distrust in authority or the FBI or whatever in me. But that's the way I see it. That's what I expect to happen.
But their idea is that if we start prosecuting parents, that these shootings or these senseless murders won't happen anymore. And come on, we all know that's false. It just means that they'll get the weapon somewhere else rather than their home. And most of the time, in most mass shootings, and look, 12-year-old Zion Charles, the 15-year-old and the 14-year-old that were killed with him. That's a mass shooting, by the way. How come the parents of the other 15-year-old haven't been charged and thrown in jail? Why? These are the kind of questions, and this is the slippery slope we're talking about. We need to find a way to make sure, the easiest way as far as I'm concerned, having more school resource officers, making sure that kids have to go through a security check before they go to school. If you really care about keeping families safe and keeping children safe like the Democrats do, they want to play the game. Oh, you want to keep kids safe. You don't want them to die, but you're willing to have guns. If you want to keep kids safe in school, what do you care if there's a police officer there to protect them or a metal detector to protect them?
Another thing, Los, I want to bring up is the Nashville shooter. There's no prosecution of the family there, and if I recall, she used a gun of her father's. Am I correct about that? Do you remember?
I don't remember how she secured that weapon.
I feel like it was in the home, and we'll have to look it up to be sure. But it just comes to mind right now is okay. Well, if you're charging here, why didn't you charge there? You know what I mean?
No, I get it. But I'm also saying there is extenuating circumstances when the authorities were already showing up to your home and saying, this is a threat. Do you have this under control?
Yeah.
To have somebody who erupts out of nowhere, who takes a gun from the home and commits this sort of act.
Yeah.
All right. To me, although it's just as heinous, it's not like there's one of them's better than the other. But I would say, all right, this person was determined to do this. They were going to get a gun regardless. I don't look at the parents and say, wow, y'all have a big part to do with this. When authorities show up to your home a year ago and say, we're monitoring threats from your kid, we have a problem here.
So then let me ask you this, because the FBI also told the school they should not allow him to go to school until they got this settled. until they got everything figured out. He should not be able to go into class. And the administrators in the school, the principal and everybody else decided, no, we're going to allow him to come into school. I know that we've had these problems before with him. We know we've had threats and this has been an issue. And I know you don't want us to. So should those people be arrested in the same regard his father is for not listening to the authorities when they warned them about this? That's where the slippery slope becomes a really big problem. Now, if the father handed the gun and drove him to school,
knowing what was happening,
I think you need to lock this guy up. See, I'm like in between on this because I'm with Carlos. You were warned, dude. Why would you not lock those? Because I would lock those weapons up right away and make sure my kid never got them.
But there's a significant difference in I provided a weapon versus I let you into school. You know,
that's if he did. We don't even know if he provided.
And that's the deal. And that's my question of it. If these charges are in part because he provided a weapon to a mentally deficient child, okay.
Yeah. I'm with you. I understand that point of view, and I appreciate it. I just think there's something bigger happening.
I mean, if the kid had the code to the safe and went and got it himself and went for school, like that, is that a different story?
Yeah, it would be for me.
That dad gave him the code to the safe, it'd be a different.
No, just because he knew it already.
Yeah, if he went and he accessed these weapons without the knowledge of the parent and then went and did what he did, I still think it's a different story.
I mean, he shot his first deer this year. I mean, his father talked about being able to use the weapons for that, so who knows?
Morning Extra at Extra 106.3, 8 o'clock hour brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert, 770-GET-HEAT, When we come back, it'll be music to your ears when you hear Trump's plan to make government small again.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
The disgusting saga of the 14-year-old school shooter in Winder gets curiouser and curiouser. First of all, the mother, Marcy, has quite the criminal history, it seems. She has a criminal record spanning more than 17 years and 4 counties. Been in jail several times, and there's one charge of family violence in there. And the father has now been charged with second-degree murder. Involuntary manslaughter, 8 counts of cruelty to children. Now, at first glance, why go after the father? Well, the father did say, yeah, there's guns in the house, but they are secured and my son only uses them with adult supervision. Then it turns out that the father bought an AR-15 style rifle for his kid for Christmas last year. Bear in mind that about 7 or 8 months earlier, his son was questioned by authorities about threats to commit a school shooting that he had posted on a gaming site. What do you want to bet the gaming site involved a lot of shooting? Oh, no, the kid says, I was hacked. That wasn't me. And the investigation apparently went no further. Then in light of this, he buys a long rifle for his kid for Christmas. Okay, will the charges hold up? That'll be determined in court. But I like it because it's a message to other parents out there who know that their son or daughter might be troubled, might be a problem, and then go out and buy them a weapon. Maybe across the country, if this gets enough publicity, some other father will say, no, in fact, I'm locking every gun in this house up and watching my kid like a hawk. I don't know, sounds to me like a pretty good case of badly negligent parents who deserve this charge being brought against them. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Tune into your new favorite show that's redefining the A to Z's of marketing, The Marketing Madmen. We'll take you behind the scenes of successful campaigns and reveal the strategies that win. We're not just talking about marketing, we're making it happen. From viral content creation to leveraging AI for customer engagement, our experts bring you to the cutting edge of industry. This is your playbook for market dominance. Tune in and transform your approach with actionable tips that could skyrocket your ROI. The Marketing Madmen every Saturday at 4 p.m. right here on Extra 106.3.
Have you heard about Sonder and their Georgia-based Medicare Advantage health plans? Sonder Health Plans is committed to revolutionizing healthcare, making it straightforward, personal, and affordable. Call them and ask if you qualify for their fantastic $400 grocery card offer and $0 premiums. They've even got their own radio show and podcast called Weekend Wellness, dedicated to keeping all Georgians healthy and happy at every age. Call 800-331-2928 or visit SonderHealthPlans.com. Sonder Health Plans is an HMO with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Sonder Health Plans depends on contract renewal.
This is a ball game. You can't say, that Donald Trump is just fine, but he's better for America than they are. Who doesn't know that?
The Kimmer Show every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app. WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 9 a.m. hour is presented by Southern Exteriors. Quality and precision you can rely on.
From a freshman in school to a murder suspect in court, I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
All right, good morning, sir. Are you Mr. Colt Gray? Sir.
Yes, sir, is about all the 14-year-old said in Winder, Georgia, 2 days after the shooting at his school that left 2 of his classmates dead and 2 teachers.
In essence, you're charged with 4 counts of felony murder.
And the judge also told the boy,
I want to make sure that you are aware that you have the right to remain silent. You don't have to say anything at all.
Then the boy's lawyer asked for no bond, and Colt Gray was led out of the court in handcuffs. In a half hour, it'll be his dad's turn in the same courtroom.
Georgia law enforcement officials hold 54-year-old Colin Gray responsible for the tragedy that struck Appalachia High School this week, charging him with the most severe charges ever filed over an alleged school shooter. That's involuntary manslaughter, second-degree murder, and cruelty to children.
Fox's Dana Marie McNichol in Winder, Georgia. Colin Gray bought the gun his son is accused of using as a Christmas present. Now, earlier this year, Jennifer and James Crumbly were convicted in Michigan of involuntary manslaughter in their son Ethan's school shooting that left 4 students dead. Former President Trump's due in court in an hour in New York City, appealing the civil judgment ordering him to pay millions of dollars to author E. Jean Carroll. He denies he defamed her while also denying Carroll's sexual abuse allegations that date back decades. We just got an update to the economy on hiring and unemployment.
We got 142,000 jobs added, created, restored, however you want to define it, in the month of August. That was worse than the 160,000 expectation. The unemployment rate smack in line to the expectation, coming in at 4.2%.
Fox Business Network's Lauren Simonetti, both those numbers are improvements from July. On Wall Street, not much reaction before today's trading. Futures are mixed, not moving much. America's listening to Fox News.
Jerry Padgett, the second enlisted in the U.S. Navy and deployed multiple times to Iraq and Afghanistan until Jerry was catastrophically injured in an improvised explosive device blast. Now, Jerry received a new smart home thanks to our friends at the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Now, the home is in the foundation's Let Us Do Good Village. It's in Florida, and Jerry now lives more independently thanks to the specially adaptive technologies. Commit to $11 a month, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
I'm going to let you in on a wireless hack that can cut your cell phone bill in half. Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile want you to believe you need unlimited data. Fact is, most people don't. Pure Talk only charges you for data you need. For just $25 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data, plus mobile hotspot. Stop overpaying for wireless. Dial pound 250 and say Pure Talk to switch easily and save 50% off your first month with Pure Talk.
Get the Extra 106.3 app.
Yeah, I got your app. I live out here 30 miles west of Augusta. I'm so glad Conservative Talk is back on the air.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra. Colt Gray, the Georgia shooting suspect, is in court for the first time this morning. Rhino and Los and I just listened to the charges that they've been brought forward. Those have been publicized. I'm sure you know them by now. The father has been arrested and will be appearing in court very, very soon, probably back to back right after his son, Colt, is done, Colt Gray. This is... the Colin Gray charges, 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and then the cruelty to children. I think 8 cruelty to children charges are what he faces. It's a fascinating story. It's the saddest story that you'll hear today, without a doubt, and that doesn't even include the sadness of the folks that we lost. I mean, this story is like nothing we've ever seen before, that I recall anyway. There's some similarities in the family in Michigan that got charged, but this is next level, y'all. It's the saddest thing and the most confusing thing. It's I think maybe, Rhino, it's life at its messiest. It's life at when life couldn't go more wrong, and I feel like life goes wrong a lot, but this is the messiest that you'll ever see.
Yeah, I mean, it's really unfortunate that we have to go through any of this every single day. I mean, we worry about our children regardless, whether they're walking to a school bus stop or just walking across a parking lot with us there at like Target or Walmart or wherever we go. But to think about, sending your child off to school where they are supposed to be safe, when we need to make sure that we have those safeguards in. Taking away legally owned weapons from people is not the answer. To just emotionally jump in and say, hey, we need to take away every assault rifle that there is in this country. We need to go ahead and take away the Second Amendment right because of one 14-year-old child who did something extremely, extremely stupid, and was probably part of, a bad environment growing up. We're just jumping to conclusions real quick. None of us want to see what happened to these children, the 2 children that died and the 2 teachers that died.
I think what makes it so gross for me is that you have a kid, obviously, who has some mental health issues, and he decided, well, I'm going to go target other kids with issues. Like there's something that just feels ugly about that in our world, because if you've ever been around anyone who, if they, whether they're autistic or if they have some of their developmental issue, most of them you'll notice are like the sweetest kids in the world.
Yeah.
And to think that a 14-year-old decided to take out other 14-year-olds that share some of these, whether developmental or mental issues, it just feels like I don't know, it's just something just gross about it than just normal school shootings that bothers me.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it's so close to home too. I mean, anytime it's in your backyard, I think it's hard not to have be drawn to it. But his grandfather, Colt's grandfather, said that the mother and father, who were very abusive, no clean clothes even. So the grandfather said the kids didn't have clean clothes. He said, I'm not exaggerating. It was constant abuse. It was very, very sad. That's what his grandfather told CNN. And he said about his grandson that he was just a good kid who lived in an environment that was hostile. Dad beat him up. Not talking about physical, but just screaming and hollering at him. Did the same thing to his daughter. So the kid had anger issues to begin with. So maybe that child abuse part is the at least most compelling part for charging the father. You know what I mean? Like, because not only did you abuse physically and mentally abuse this kid, you could have drawn him, you could have pushed him over the edge. And I do believe that when you're sustaining abuse like that for the entirety of your life, for every minute that you've lived on earth, they say the mother locked them out of the house. The neighbors said this, the mother locked them out of the house all the time where they couldn't get in. They just wouldn't let them back in the house, talking about Colt and his sister. When you live under that type of abuse, at some point you lash out. It's bound to happen. So knowing those facts, it does make it clearer, at least for me, why you could then charge the father with child abuse, if nothing else.
I think, look, we fail children all the time, and it's a really unfortunate situation that this child was failed. There are so many opportunities for us to save this child, whether his parents failed him or not. There is a community. His aunt did her best and tried to. I mean, there's just so much you can do against a parent, and I'm not for anybody else telling you how to parent your child, but when there's clear abuse, somebody's got to step in. Where were the counselors? We know he's been having problems since 2023. We know that this was a big issue his whole time in school. Where were all the counselors? Where were all the people intervening before this happened too? That's where I think we need to get to the bottom of it. Obviously, I don't want counselors coming into my house and being like, oh, your kid hasn't showered and this, that, and the other. But this is a different kind of situation. This is where this child was talking about things for a year, and they still allowed him back into a school and never worried once about his mental illness?
So behavioral science will always tell you, when it comes to the idea of evil, is it nature or nurture? How does it occur? And it goes both ways. There's some people that just seem to be just born evil. But most of the cases are a situation where within the home, within the upbringing, and this is what tends to happen. Now, that doesn't explain why somebody who brought up in that kind of home ends up being J.D. Vance. It doesn't explain how this person does this versus that. But I think the issue I keep going back to is that if you've raised this person in this environment who has these issues, don't give them a gun.
Yeah, no, I think we can.
That's where I draw that different line of just saying, I never would have given a fork to Jeffrey Dahmer. Okay, it's like it's just I know it's an extreme sense, but you don't enable something you've created to lash out.
You don't give keys to your kids when they're drunk and say, "Go pick me up some more beer." Either.
Right.
I mean, there's certain situations. Yeah, there's a lot of situations we need to look into and say, hey, how do we fix this without taking away the rights from other citizens? Because that's the problem.
That's the bigger problem. I agree.
And part of this problem is going to be, go back to it. Every day I can go through the news right now about a bunch of teens who robbed a CBD store. Should their parents be paying the penalties for that? A woman, was shot by a young man who happened to be 14, 15 years old, a young man in Atlanta. Should the parents of that child, should they be arrested? Should they face, the same kind of involuntary manslaughter charges? Each situation is different, and I know that. But this is where we lead if we continue to go down this path. We need to fix the real problems.
Yeah, which is the mental health crisis that we have in the United States of America. There's no question that is a real thing. And I've seen examples of that in our own life, mainly with families that you're on a ball team with, and Los, you may have seen this with your kids playing so much ball. You just know some situations are not good, and sometimes they play out right in front of your eyes, and you're thinking, goodness gracious, how could this possibly be happening at East Cobb Baseball Complex or at the Lake Point Sports Complex up near Cartersville? The mental health issue in the United States of America may be the biggest problem that we have. That may be, as far as societal problems. You can go back to government and talk about spending and all that. I just mean societal problems that have to be cured. And for me, as a man coming from a faith perspective, it's you have to get back to faith. You have to get back to something bigger than all of us and treat people the way you want to be treated. The golden rule, the way that the Bible tells you to treat people. I know we're never going to do that. We're in a broken world that is never going to be repaired. Yet, I think at least if we're doing that, if we're working through our churches and working through these challenging issues, at least if we start from the right premise, we can at least head in the right direction and hopefully help some of these kids. Hopefully save some of these kids. I think I said it yesterday or the day before. Just in the last 2 weeks, my own church has started talking about counseling. Like if you're a member of the church, there is counseling available. And I went to the website just because we spoke about it, and it listed all the things that you can get counseling for. And I think that's the place to start, y'all.
I definitely think the one thing that Sheriff Judd, I think, said that is very, very important, if you see something, say something. And I think that needs to be reiterated throughout. Like if a kid is struggling, for any reason, our kids are the problem, and part of that is from the culture that we give to our children. Whether we're showing them that, hey, we're gangsters and we're, badass gangsters, we'll expect your child to pick up a gun and be a gangster. If you're, sitting here and ignoring your child, expect them to be ignored and to be an outcast in one way or another. If you bully people online and you sit here and you pretend you're better than everybody else, and it happens on both sides, don't get me wrong, but I see a lot more hatred from the left and the way that they, sit and use words and go after people left and right. And I'm not saying the right's not guilty of it either, but expect your child to be a bully and expect this to happen. We have a problem in our schools where I'll be honest, I'm afraid that my son will get bullied every single day. My son right now is struggling to find friends. He gets picked on because maybe he wears glasses, he has, braces, or he likes Dungeons and Dragons. And even though I know he's built to defend himself, I worry every single day about my son being picked on because other parents don't treat their children in a correct manner or raise their children in a correct manner as far as I'm concerned. I think
we've had this going on. Well, Ryan, I think about that too, like the bullied kid. And when you're well-adjusted, I think that you never go to extremes. It's like, hey, got my family, got my dad, got my things I'm involved in. Yeah, bullying sucks, but they don't go to extremes. The problem is we've seen this now for 25 years. We have the most medicated society in the entirety of the world, and the amount of antidepressants that we see in these kids, so many of them that go on these sprees, go look at it. It's the Zolofts of the world and everything else that they're on.
Oh my God!
So many of these things, and we're saying to ourselves,
ADD.
Yeah, how did you act out of your mind? Why would you do this? And then it comes back to, okay, now that makes a little bit more sense. Whenever we get the toxicology and all this sort of stuff, you can always go back to that. The bullied kid who's well-adjusted just deals with it.
Right.
The bullied kid who is on all sorts of stuff, they don't deal with it the same way.
Well, because we don't know what those drugs ultimately do to us.
No.
Or to the kids that they're given to. Do they work for one aspect of their illness? Maybe so, but does it cause some other part that we don't even know about to be even worse? And I think that's what RFK is bringing up a little bit too, Los.
I agree, and I think what happens is, and again, let's go back and use your son as the example, Rhino. When something happens, there's a checklist in his mind of, is this trouble? Is this would my dad get upset at me? And at some point, the checklist becomes, okay, I'm not going to do anything about it. When you're on this medication, and the only reason I point it out is because you can go back and look at how many of these people, from the Nashville shooter all the way to Columbine, they're all on these things. At some point, they don't have the checklist.
Yeah.
It doesn't register with them.
It doesn't register with them, and it's scary. I hate to be that guy because, when I was little, they'd be like, can't listen to Alice in Chains, that's the devil's music, or, Marilyn Manson, or those. Now, I wasn't a big Marilyn Manson fan, but I never thought, hey, we got to stop letting Marilyn Manson make records. But I do think video games, social media, and all of that has gotten to us a point where violence is almost acceptable in a weird way. And when these kids are medicated, you can't detach the video game from real life anymore. I mean, you're going back and forth and you're like, hey, he can get a reboot card. Like, I don't know what a 13-year-old or 14-year-old thinks. I talked to my son about it. He knows the finality of using a gun against someone. He knows never to touch a gun. Well, I'm raising him because I've been, scared of what could possibly happen. But my son also knows, hey, bully, I'm a black belt. I'm going to walk away from this before you get hurt. My son is, we've talked, and it's okay that he is who he is. He still finds friends. He still has his own group, and that's cool. And he is balanced because he does have family. But it doesn't take a village. It takes a family to be involved with their own children.
But on top of that, Los, there are those situations. My nephew is one. He was struggling so much in school. He's totally well adjusted. He was part of the wrestling team. His schoolwork always suffered. Mm-hmm. They prescribed like an ADD medication. Kid is like a straight A student all of a sudden. And so there are those instances where it helps. And I think you brought up one, Los, with a kid that was a baseball player getting recruited a whole bunch, and he had the same thing, just couldn't get it right with the grades. They give him an ADD medication, and he is fine and dandy. So there are the situations where,
but they have a good family unit.
Right, absolutely. And maybe
if you had a bad family unit, if you had a father that, and a mother who's a drug addict who's running around like his aunt said, and a father who is just not there or is a criminal as well. I mean, apparently this guy and the family have moved from town to town to town. He's been arrested so many times. This child, if you give him medicine, it's not going to be the same as if Jacob had it or my son had it or Carlos's daughters had it because they have a good family unit behind it.
Yeah, I understand. This is not a aha, eureka. No, this is like a cocktail of events.
Right.
This is a confluence of things that come together to create these scenarios. And I think the part that bothers me is whether it's, Tucker Carlson or MTG, anybody who points it out, immediately the drug industry fires up and it's like, well, no, we're not the ones that are involved in it. I'm like, no, I'm just saying you have a part in this, okay? there's something that turns off in these kids where suddenly right from wrong is not
blurry.
really a viable thing that they're going through.
Yeah, no, dude, it is. It's weird. It's. I don't know, and I'm going to say this, and some people won't like it. Without faith in a higher power, without God as your guide, I don't know that we find our way out of this, and I don't think we're trending in that direction in the country. Church attendance is way, way down, and I'm not laying all of that. Everything that's happened at the blame of that, but I think it's certainly a big, big part of it. I see the families that I go to church with and how they behave. Are they perfect? By no means. No, I'm not perfect either, and I go to church every Sunday, and I'm as guilty and as broken as anybody else. But I think the checklist that you're talking about is instilled when you do go to church. It is the main focus of do unto others. It is the main focus of make sure that when someone is bad to you, turn the other cheek. I just think that stuff is instilled. Does that mean some Christian kid can't do this? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that, but I think it's the place to start.
Look, I think there's so much value in that, in community and morality. I mean, that's what's important about religion in the first place, is it shows you the morality. It shows you the lessons that people have learned throughout history to be better people, and I hope we'd all try to be better people. I think that just comes down to not only church, but just good family units and good neighborhoods and good...
But church is where that's fostered, I believe.
Oh, I do. I believe that too. But I know a lot of people who don't go to church or never have gone to church, and I think are some of the greatest people in the world. I mean, my beautiful girlfriend Erin, for instance, she's not a church-going person. She finds God and religion somewhere else for herself, but she every day would be the first person to come up and hug you and love you and be a part of it and would teach you and not have to go down those paths. But I do believe that all that comes from having that morality of God or something in your life that guides you to be a better person every single day. And church is an easy and good place to get. Well, it's never easy because you really do have to work at being a better person every day. But that is a place that we need to have our children. Those schools, those kind of things, like this is why I really want the focus to be on parenting and children, not guns in this case.
Morning Xtra on Xtra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station. What's your opinion of it? What do you think of it? 404-741-1230. I would love to know other folks. We've talked about it the last half
Temple's
hour.
Temple's good too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Temple and
whatever. Find your religious faith. I mean, obviously, I'm Christian. Christ is what I think, but yes, find something that's bigger than you. And you'll always have perspective if you do that. When we come back, 9 o'clock hour is brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your Atlanta exterior solution since 1999. 8779 southernexteriors.co. When we come back, the mainstream media got another gut punch when a group of California liberals turned to X, a.k.a. Twitter, for their news. You have to hear this. I'm telling you to put a smile on your face. After a heavy, heavy discussion about what's been happening here in the state of Georgia. This is the Morning Xtra.
Xtra 106.3 is the only station in Atlanta to bring you unedited news, information, and updates. With an all-star lineup of local and network voices, Xtra is committed to being the station you need during the biggest election of our lifetime.
This presidential election is unlike any other.
Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station is Xtra 106.3 FM, and listen across Georgia on the Xtra app.
Your Atlanta Braves are down to the final few series of the regular season and need you at Truist Park when the Los Angeles Dodgers come to town September 13th through the 16th, followed by the New York Mets September 24th through the 26th. Fans can look forward to some great entertainment and, of course, giveaways, including rubber shoe charms on Sunday, September 15th for the first 3,000 kids through the gates. And then on September 24th, the first 15,000 fans will receive the City Connect replica jersey presented by Xfinity. The fun continues through the week when the Braves celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month on September 25th with a special Los Bravos Night celebration, including a special on-field presentation, salsa band, Mexican dancers, and more. The regular season wraps up as the Royals come to Truist Park September 27th through the 29th. Visit Braves.com/promos to check out all the fun and purchase tickets starting at just $9. Atlanta Braves Baseball. We are Braves Country.
Hear that? That's the sound of the annual Duck Pluck event, supporting Special Olympics Georgia athletes, and we need your help. Adopt a cute rubber duck today for just $10, and all proceeds will help provide everything from meals to housing for our Georgia athletes at the state games. Hurry, only a few days left. So adopt your duck today at duckrace.com/Atlanta.
Tune into your new favorite show that's redefining the A to Z's of marketing, the Marketing Madmen. We'll take you behind the scenes of successful campaigns and reveal the strategies that win. We're not just talking about marketing, we're making it happen. From viral content creation to leveraging AI for customer engagement, our experts bring you to the cutting edge of industry. This is your playbook for market dominance. Tune in and transform your approach with actionable tips that could skyrocket your ROI. The Marketing Madmen every Saturday at 4 p.m. right here on Extra 106.3.
At the Piedmont Bank, we're proud to be one of Georgia's largest community banks, focusing on serving businesses and the communities they serve. With headquarters right here in Metro Atlanta, our tailored banking expertise and solutions help meet the diverse needs of our customers so they have what it takes to grow, expand, and thrive. It's what elevates us above the rest. Find a location near you at Piedmont.bank and experience elevated banking for you and your business. The Piedmont Bank. Banking elevated. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Securing America. September is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month, and the Department of Defense is highlighting the month, calling their campaign Joining Your Fight to Connect to Protect. Dr. Liz Clark is the director of the Defense Suicide Prevention Office, commenting in a press release, suicide prevention takes a community to create change, to sustain hope, and to convey that we are all in this together. She goes on to say, I know the work is not easy, but we must each look out for each other and draw strength from each other as we light a path forward. Each death by suicide is one too many, and the department is deeply committed to ending the scourge of suicide through force. The department reminding everyone, if you or a loved one are experiencing thoughts of suicide, you are not alone, and to call the Veterans Crisis Hotline at 988. Veterans Affairs data from 2020 to 2021 showed there were nearly 6,400 veteran suicides in the country, that time frame showing the largest one-year increase in veteran suicides. Tom Graham, Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are the top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Friday, September 6th. Colt Gray, 14 years old, has made his first court appearance. Judge Curry Mingledorf explained what the maximum penalties could be.
I want to inform you of the charges that you currently face. In essence, you are charged with 4 counts of felony murder, as outlined in the state warrants that have been issued against you. I want to make you aware that the maximum penalty for felony murder, so for each count, the maximum penalty is that you could be punishable by death, by imprisonment for life without parole, or by imprisonment for life with the possibility of parole.
The judge did walk back the statement, saying the maximum death penalty is not in play for Colt Gray. Gray did not enter a plea during the appearances. And in sports, the Atlanta Braves have now dropped into a tie with the New York Mets for the final National League wildcard spot after falling to the Colorado Rockies 3-1 last night. The Braves will host the Toronto Blue Jays in a 3-game series that begins tonight at Truist Park. Max Fried will be on the mound for the Braves with first pitch scheduled for 7:20. You can catch all the action on our sister station, 680 The Fan.
X, formerly known as Twitter, is now the #1 news app in the world. Wow. Not just in America, but in the world. Now, I know they said when Elon Musk bought this, it's going to tank. It's going to tank. It's going to be the worst ever. And it's been exactly opposite. And I think they knew that. They hated the fact, and Los has brought this out so many times, they hated the fact that they took away that tool from the Democrats. Yeah. And that has blown up, and I think people appreciate being able to say what they need to say what they want to say, no matter how crazy or how sane it is.
Hey, Los, what about efficiency? I mean, how did efficiency work when Elon Musk came in and eliminated 75% of the staff and made it the #1 news source?
I think by the time that it's over with, I think the number is now like 88, 90% of just going, yeah, we don't need 4 lawyers for this, or we don't need an entire DEI wing. It's like, how about we just do a good job?
I want to tell you that libs and the mainstream media is probably wetting their britches right now. The reason I bring it up, the X account for Tesla owners of the Silicon Valley, they posted this question and statement. anyone else sick of mainstream media and their lies? X is the best place for real news. Now, when I read that initially, I got to tell you, I just kind of scrolled by it. It didn't hit me anyway. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, wait a minute. Silicon Valley, California, liberals, EV, people that drive EVs, those are the people that you would never in a million years think would be on X to begin with, right? Because Elon Musk is a conservative. Now, this is an official X account, but it doesn't matter. The fact that there are people out there, this account has 1 million followers. That does nothing but give me hope that there are people in Silicon Valley. There are people that drive EV that still have common sense. These are wealthy people. And this is maybe just another chip in that big mainstream media, drive-by media, that is making them completely useless. And they know it. We all know it. And I love it. The fact that these people, I don't drive an EV, have no interest in it. I don't live in Silicon Valley, have no interest in it. I don't have the money they do. I do have interest in that. I just don't know how to get there. But there's so much more, there's so much different than I am, y'all. And still, we're reading the news from the same place. That gives me hope.
Hey, look, it gives me hope too. And then the one thing that I love about X is that this is the news source and it's easy to do. And when you look, you get all your information from every single political leader that we follow. I mean, whether it's Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer or Kamala Harris.
People that we don't agree with, like you're saying.
Yeah, we get to see both sides of the argument. And that's what I like, what he's done with this. He's got the For You, he's got the following, he's got everything that he's put into this has made it a better platform for news. And we get to respond directly to those people, even if they don't respond back, but we get to see what they really think and say.
I would say that for years when people did radio shows, they would go to their local newspaper, they would go to a couple of their websites, and that's how they would create their content and what they were going to do. X is entirely that because it's instantaneous, the information is there, and you get to evaluate it on your own. And you understand when it comes from a person who's particularly on the left or right, and you kind of see where their point of view is. I think what is now happening is you have this reach for knowledge, whether it's from Silicon Valley or, Southwest Georgia. People want to be told the truth or want to evaluate good information. At this point, I think the only people that are now susceptible to that normal, mainstream media, corporate media, are older people that were just used to the newspaper and the 5 o'clock news.
But even that, I mean, our elders, or the older people right now, they're all gone Facebook, and they're getting the same information that we're getting over here on Twitter, just not as filtered.
Probably not as real time.
I'm sorry, way more filtered and not as real time. That's the one thing I love about this is, number one, it's real time. Number two, you get receipts. So even when Elizabeth Warren comes out and says, hey, I am Native American, we have that receipt. And then when she comes back a few years later and says, I'm not, there you go. But I think it is something that we can use for honesty. Whether Donald Trump lies about something, we could pull it up and go, hey, he's lying about this. When Kamala Harris lies, we're able to pull it up and go, hold on, you said you were totally going to tear apart and make sure you stop fracking, especially in a swing state like Pennsylvania. Now you're here in Pennsylvania saying you aren't. Which one is it? That's the good thing about what's going on right now with Twitter.
One of the followers on this EV owners, Tesla owners of Silicon Valley that made this post is a dude named Justin. His handle's at JHook50. Data center, infrastructure engineer, reverse engineer, problem solver, investor. And then he goes through all the stuff that he's involved with. But he said, stop calling it mainstream media because it's neither of those. It is legacy and it is lies. Refer to it moving forward as legacy media. He said mainstream media in today's world is actually here on X. And that's kind of what you're saying, is that we're able to see everything real time. You can evaluate the statements of Kamala Harris and Donald Trump or any other politician or any person at the state level, local level. Everybody has an account, so you can see things for yourself as they're spoken, unfiltered, unlike you would get it on CNN or even Fox News. Put it on Fox News too, anywhere, because it is through their eyes that you get the whatever was said. So you get their spin, you get their interpretation. When you watch it in real time on Twitter, Los, you get your interpretation.
Yeah, and I get a chance to see what the argument is, and I get to evaluate it for myself. It's not being filtered through whatever the AJC wants to tell me it is, or whatever whatever news station decides to tell me what it is. I get to look at it and go, all right, I'm going to press play. I'm going to listen for 5-10 minutes. And by the way, get a lot more information that 5 or 10 minutes that I'm going to get from 45 seconds from a news broadcast. This is how you become a more informed voter and know what's going on.
Dude, it's good news is what it is.
Yeah, and you get to understand, like when Tim Walz puts up things and you read it, you get to get an idea of what he is saying, what he's talking about, the price gouging and price fixing. That lets you know he says it in real time. 14 hours ago, he talked about price fixing again. Now you have an opportunity to look at that and say, hey, I want to really investigate what this means for me. Where the news is just going to give you, hey, here's the story, bye, and we're friends with them, so bye. We're going to make this look good. Where here, you get to get community notes. I love this as a new news platform. I think all news should go to this platform. That's why people don't watch TV anymore. They need to be on these kind of situations. Look, the AJC does better on Twitter than it does getting subscription papers delivered.
For sure. And to that point, the first time I watched local news in years was the day before yesterday when the shooting was happening at Appalachia High School, because I knew they would have somebody on the ground, right? I flipped it on there immediately and watched it just as it came down. And then quickly turned it off and went straight to Twitter.
Yeah, because you're not getting the information. I did the same thing, Carlos. I'm sure that you find it all the time. Even in sports, we find this. But I went to local news real quick, and I was like, okay, I got the reporter not giving me much more, just kind of recapping.
Here's what's happened. That's all I needed.
But then I went here, and I was directly connected to the GBI and getting the same information she was at real time. GBI was putting up, hey, we're going to hold a press conference. Here's what it's about, while the news was at commercial break. I'm getting it real time.
All right.
So my mom is probably, I don't think she's fully Aunt Peg, but she's trending that direction.
Oh, no.
So if I was to call my mom as soon as we're done at 10 o'clock and tell her, Mom, the ultimate goal of the Democrat Party is to legalize 11 to 30 million illegals so you can smash the middle class, she would probably say, well, why do you think that? And I would say, because Chuck Schumer said it to me yesterday, dummy.
Yeah. Here it is.
Right? Chuck Schumer said the only way we're going to have a great future in America, the ultimate goal is by giving citizenship to more than 11 million illegal aliens to replace the jobs and votes of American citizens.
Nancy
Pelosi. But you would never see that on the news.
No,
right?
Of course not.
And that is one of the most powerful men in Washington, the Democrat Party, and it's on X, and I saw it in real time.
And on top of that, Los, is the fact that the things that they leave out and don't say, they do that on purpose too. That's thought out. That's well thought out, because keeping someone from the information is just as persuasive as telling them. You know what I mean? The things that you leave out on purpose.
We had a 41-minute interview that CNN aired 18 minutes of Kamala and Walz.
There's a reason, because they didn't want you to see. They took it all out. They didn't say it, right?
Yeah. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is doing 2 hours on X live.
Yeah. And look, the other thing, and I'm going to use this again, Georgia, we had the shooting. J.D. Vance talked about it yesterday, and he talked about we should not have to deal with these kinds of facts of life. This is part of life now, and we need to figure out how we can stop this. Look at what the media did. AP News, even Greg Bluestein, the first thing he put out, he says these shootings are facts of life, instead of taking the full quote. The good thing about someone like X is, number one, you got community notes on telling you the truth. Why don't we play the whole cut? And then you can go and watch the video for yourself and realize, look what the AP did. Look what the left-leaning Atlanta Journal-Constitution did and Greg Bluestein. Look at the misinformation they put out there in order to force a narrative. I'm very disappointed in Greg Bluestein for that, by the way, and using that quote and not giving the whole sentence.
Morning Xtra and Xtra 106.3 just released 142,000 jobs for the month of August, less than expected. Bidenomics is failing us again. Kamalanomics, if you can even say that. I'm not sure.
Kamalanomics?
There we go. Kamalanomics.
Kamalanomics.
Yeah, that's it. That flows much better. That's going to fail too, because they have the same plan. Layoffs have hit a 15-year high, and hiring at the lowest in 19 years. and then you get that weak jobs report on top of it. And the recession that they say is non-existent is like becoming full-blown.
Hold on. Keem Jeffrey said they created 15 million jobs. We've been told that they've been creating job after job after job. They're the job creation people. They've done such a great job creating jobs. I don't understand what's going on here. Oh, wait. They lied to us.
Yes, that's it.
This is a big problem.
And
you know what?
Finally catching up.
Carlos, I think, number one, we already know that the jobs full were either government jobs, part-time jobs, or third-party jobs. But I think the layoff number is very, very troubling.
Well, that's when people start to freak out. When you start to see that unemployment tick up from 3.5, 3.8 to 4.3, you start looking around going, how? I thought everything was really good, y'all. Like, why are people not hiring? Why are people actually laying people off? That is when I think you start getting those alarm bells, because it's always that old saying that when your neighbor loses their job, it's a little bit of an issue. When you do, it's an emergency.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
It's like, all right, it's when it starts to happen in front of you, now we got problems here.
And why are folks why are companies laying folks off? Is because the economy. It's the economy, stupid. I mean, it's the most simple thing in the world, and they've denied it and denied it and lied, and it's now taking over. There's no denying it anymore.
Tug, it's the number one topic in terms of this election, 4 times bigger than the next closest topic.
And that's probably what, immigration?
Immigration.
Yeah. And that's why yesterday Trump was so smart to hammer it. He knew this was coming, and he talked about, how do I improve the lives of Americans, everyday Americans? How do I improve the economy? That's why he was on message yesterday, and with good reason.
And he'll be on message today again. Absolutely. And just crushing about the economy and bringing good numbers.
One man snapped his fingers, and another man is no longer living an alternative lifestyle. We're going to give you a little laugh, a little smile as we depart at the end of the Morning Extra in the next segment here on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Tug. The Morning Extra has you covered from 6 to 10, and Kimmer's got you on the ride home.
Jen Psaki, holy cow. Jen Psaki's a former White House liar, now a liar for MSNBC. And they were talking and gabbling and bickering about all the things that these ladies do. And they were she was talking about how she would compare Hillary Rodham P. Sticky Fart Cabbage with Vice President Cleopatra. Cut number 1, sir.
This magical, charismatic quality in person. So do a lot of politicians. People say that about Hillary Clinton. Also true.
Holy moly. Magical, charismatic quality in person like Hillary?
If you say it enough, somebody's going to believe it, I guess. Yeah.
They just keep saying this stuff.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
We're smart, we care. We're Central Heating and Air.
Feeling the heat, Atlanta? Don't let it get you down. Stay cool with Carrier products from Central Heating and Air Conditioning. Their Carrier systems are designed to help keep you comfortable even during the hottest days. With advanced cooling technology, you'll enjoy a refreshing home no matter how high the temperature rises. And right now, you can save up to $2,000 on a new Carrier system. That's right, up to $2,000 off to ensure you stay cool all summer long. Plus, their Carrier systems come with excellent warranties for added peace of mind. At Central Heating and Air Conditioning, they pride themselves on better service through knowledge. And right now, you can save up to $2,000 on a new Carrier system. That's right, up to $2,000 off to ensure you stay cool all summer long. Turn to Atlanta's Carrier experts. Call 770-GET-HEAT or visit centralheat.com today.
We're smart, we care. We're Central Heating and Air.
Get ready for Real Talk on the Janelle King Show, where we tackle kitchen table topics that are banned from family gatherings, but crucial for a strong republic. Tune in every Saturday at 3 p.m. and every Sunday for an encore episode at 9 a.m. And if you can catch us live, great. But if not, no worries. New podcasts drop every Tuesday on the Podcast Park right here on Extra 106.3 or wherever you get your podcast. Join us for insightful conversations that matter.
Hey Atlanta, it's Mark from Atlanta Safe House. The Safe House crew hopes everyone is enjoying their vacation this summer. We know the criminals are watching and waiting for you to leave so they can bust in and steal your stuff. But hey, there is a solution. Come purchase a quality safe from Atlanta Safe House. And with summer rebates and specials, you can save hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a quality safe. And remember, don't let an illegal or crackhead deliver or move your safe. They could very well know your combination. So drop by the showroom or go to atlantasafehouse.com.
Hey everybody, it's Neil Bortz, an actual attorney spokesperson for Van Sant Law. Notice the heavy traffic out there? Yep, school's back in session. Things can happen. Sometimes people aren't that careful. Maybe an accident. But David Van Sant, he's there to help smooth the way for you if somebody you love gets hurt. Call Van Sant Law at 855-GA-INJURY. 855-GA-INJURY. First call after 9/11, Van Sant Law. 855-GA-INJURY.
I'm Chad Pergram with the Speaker's Lobby. Analysts told Senate Democrats for much of this cycle that they will likely be serving in the minority next year. But Democrats say they see similarities between their candidate matchups in November and when they expanded a narrow majority in 2022. In 2022, Democrats added to their slim majority, thanks in part to Republicans running flawed candidates. That included TV personality Mehmet Oz in Pennsylvania and former football star Herschel Walker in Georgia. All candidates have flaws, but Republicans think the flaws of candidates like Oz and Walker in 2022 were special cases. Still, Democrats face an uphill climb to keep the Senate. Already, Republicans are all but guaranteed a win in West Virginia. Independent West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin, who caucuses with the Democrats, is retiring. That likely clears the way for Republican West Virginia Governor Jim Justice to win the seat. Just to break even, Democrats must hold seats in Republican states like Ohio and Montana and defend seats in swing states like Arizona, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Nevada. With the Speaker's Lobby, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
The Morning Extra. Glenn Beck, Clay and Buck, The Kimmer Show, Jesse Kelly, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson. The biggest lineup of conservative voices in the South are on Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra 106.3 app.
Tug Rhino and Los on the Morning Extra. You've made it. You made it to Friday. Thank the Lord. Thank God it's Friday. After the week we've had, I know it was a short week. It was supposed to be good, and then you have the thing that happened at Appalachian High School, and it's just been, I think everybody just needs a moment to catch their breath, and that's why I wanted to bring this in, because I think it might make you laugh. You remember the guy that was, I think they were in Africa, and Joe plays the clip all the time. Do you have that handy? He was talking to the woman who was...
Why are you gay?
Why are you gay?
Yes.
And he's and
can I tell you, I blame Carlos for this. Okay. I can't stop watching it. I have it bookmarked, and I watch it every once in a while when I'm feeling down.
Just that one specific thing?
The whole interview. I think it's hilarious.
I can't help but there's Cullen Madden. He works for the Braves Radio Network in our sister station, and anytime he tries to correspond with me, my first response to you is, "Why are you gay?"
Yeah, it's just
why are you gay?
So this is kind of in that same vein. But this man is talking, and he asked the same thing. He asked kind of the same question. And the other guy's like, whoa, 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 whoa. There seems to be some confusion here. Listen to this.
If I snap my fingers, you'll forget that you were ever gay.
I was never gay.
Exactly.
Wait, no, stop.
Yes.
No, stop. You can't. I was never gay.
Okay.
No, I was never gay. You can't just state something, then snap your fingers, and then be like, I was never gay.
If you say so.
If you say so.
It's so good. And you should see the confusion on the guy's face. God. He's looking around. He's like, what are you talking about?
This guy is either the greatest actor of all time or just naturally amazingly funny without even knowing he's funny, because when you watch the entire first video, by the way, of when he's like, but you're a lesbian, right? And like starts asking all these like questions.
She goes, who says I'm gay? He goes, you are gay.
You are gay.
He looks at her, just shakes his head, and he's like, you are gay.
So matter of fact.
It is so funny. He's like, I will snap my fingers and you will not be gay. And he's like, I'm not gay. He's like, see, it worked.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, no, you can't say that because I was never gay to begin with. And he was like, no. You say whatever you want to. Yes, you were.
This guy may be better than Borat.
He's up there.
Can we re-rack that?
Yeah, re-rack that.
That's just too funny.
Oh my God. I snap my fingers, you'll forget that you were ever gay.
was never gay.
Exactly.
Wait, no, stop.
Yes.
No, stop. You can't. I was never gay.
Okay.
No, I was never gay. You can't just state something and snap your fingers and then be like, I was never gay.
You say so.
Okay, and he throws up his hand.
I'm going to try this on my friends all weekend long.
Dude,
This is
it's
great.
so funny.
But I'm not gay.
It
worked.
I was like with this one, like you've been with the other one. I bet I watched this thing 15 times and just giggled to myself, thinking, anybody around me would think I'm crazy.
I tried it on Joe, but he goes, yes, I am.
Yeah,
so it didn't work. I tried.
That's not going to be successful.
But I'm going to do this. I'm telling you, in 5 minutes, I'm going right up to my wife and I'm going to go, all right, I need you to close your eyes. And when I snap my fingers, you were never gay.
She's gonna be like, I'm not gay, and exactly. It worked. Exactly, it worked. It's my magic. It's my magic trick. Yeah, there's another video. I was just scrolling through because you'd asked that, Rhino. Like, what else has he done? And I obviously can't see and watch them all, but there's one where he's looks like he's running and probably struggling to run. He's a big fella, and it says, "Me, I came in second." The announcer, well, there are only two of you. So you lost. So he's got a sense of humor already. So it must be a comedy guy. Because I have no idea. I just ran across it. Somebody shared it with me, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll take this.
It almost reminds me of, I think it was Zach Galifianakis who interviewed Hillary Clinton. And I don't know if it was real or...
Was that Between Two Ferns or whatever?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Was that real?
I think it's just...
Scripted.
It's scripted, but they put him in awkward situations, or at least his part scripted, not hers, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you just throw out the most random.
But she was really sitting there, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, she was really like upset about like these questions, like.
Yeah, well, he was dropping Trump ads into the middle of the conversation,
just trying to make her uncomfortable, and she did not
knew that
like
was.
It. Well, you would think. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they film it. I don't know. I just know that those are always awkward. And he knows what he's doing, and it's like it's just like you're putting people on the spot.
Yeah, that reminds me of him when he's like
that.
How should I get in touch with you? Email? Like, that was really funny. And she was like, stop it. This guy
that's
reminds
kind of
me
the
of
bit that they play too on that show.
Yeah.
Is that they want to just be stone cold.
Yeah.
Everybody
just
tries.
Deadpan.
So like, she knew the vibe going in.
Yeah.
There's another one with Obama.
Yeah.
He's one of the funniest jokes. How does it feel to be the last black president?
Yeah.
Written by Tim Kalpakis.
Wow.
I just know it was super, super funny, and we needed to
Good
end
for
on a
them.
laugh after the week that we
Dude,
had.
I love this guy.
Yeah,
what's
he's
his
funny.
name?
I have no DJ Wastaken. I
just figured asking the guy from Dalton would be funny.
Yeah, exactly, man. I have no idea. I don't know how to say it. I just know he's funny. I'm certain of that. But anyway.
What's the time difference? Can we call him Joe? Get on that. What time's it in Where is he out of? Wasn't he out of South Africa, I thought, yeah?
Yeah, it looks somewhere in the Middle East or Africa somewhere for sure. Just
Dude,
at least the other videos of his that I see is just the terrain. You can see it. But
God, I need those last going into the weekend. I mean, it's been a really tough week for, a lot of people, especially with what's going on and worrying about your children and, worrying about teachers. I think that's something also we need to really, these teachers truly are heroes every single day. And I respect every teacher, even if they don't respect what they do. When it comes to a situation like this, I am extremely proud to, say, hey, I really do care about a lot of these teachers and the ones that do their jobs and care about the children. We need to recognize them today, man.
Yeah, I don't know that I can take it that far. I respect the folks that are there for the right reason. If you're trying to indoctrinate a kid,
Thank you.
I don't know that.
Not those.
Yeah, I don't know.
Those aren't teachers, though.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's like the police officers by and large. Support all police officers, but there are that 0.1% that are doing the wrong thing that don't belong as a police officer.
Yeah, the ones pulling you over because you had Coke on the dash.
Well, I was thinking more because I was doing 70. I was doing 79 and a 70. How at
you
9
had
you're
your
fine.
hand hanging out the window with your shirt on it.
9 you're fine. 10 you're mine. That's what they told me.
You were screaming, "I'll never die. I'm gonna live forever."
I felt like it.
79 and a 70. I don't know what you were thinking.
Yeah. Well, look, I felt like that's because I.
Boy, I'll tell you, on the way home yesterday,
yeah,
I was flying.
coming home from North Carolina?
Oh, boy. At one point, I looked down and, I follow the people in front of me. Dude in front of me must have been doing 92 because I looked down at mine. I'm like, oh, my gosh, I'm doing 89 in the 70.
Los, you got car issues. How's that coming along? Are you going to be prepared for the weekend to take girls to volleyball practice and things?
Yeah, we got a small little tournament, and then we've got to practice, and I still don't have a car with a working alternator. So maybe today.
Maybe hopefully so.
Today.
And then tomorrow you can go out and support those folks in blue at a great community event, Hot Rods and Heroes.
I'm so excited.
And Battle of the Badges softball game, 10 to 3, touch a truck, Smyrna First Baptist Church, and it benefits the Smyrna Public Safety Foundation. We're going to be out there with Xtra 106.3. And that's if you're looking for something to do, that will be something to do. And if you're like me, you got DirecTV and you ain't gonna be able to watch any college football, might as well go there. Maybe they'll have it on a TV somewhere. If they're smart, which I believe they are, they'll roll TVs out there and they'll have games on because people don't want to miss games. That's why you don't plan a wedding this time of year. But you'll be able to keep it up with it that way, or keep up with it on your phone, and then support the folks out there and check out some really cool cars and some heroes, some actual heroes.
Come visit us. And Tug said anybody who hits him with a pie in the face, he's going to donate $5 to the police foundation.
What do you think? Let's do it. I didn't say that.
Someone actually does that.
I didn't say that, but I'm willing to donate $5. I'm willing to donate $5 if you don't do that.
Pies everywhere.
I love it.
It better be a chocolate pie because that's the only kind I like.
Oh, so yummy.
Yeah. Anyway, that'll do it for us. We're going to turn this thing over to the Glenn Beck program. Beck is on until noon, then Clay and Buck from noon until 3, the biggest show in all the conservative media, carrying the torch lit by the late, great Rush Limbaugh. And then the local afternoon show with our own Yosemite Sam. His name is the Kimmer. He's got Pete and Flounder with him, and he will carry you from 3 until 6. The I think most underrated star in the conservative movement is Jesse Kelly. He is 6 to 9. And then Jimmy Fallon, one of the funniest guys in all of conservative media, with Fox Across America at 9 to midnight. That's your lineup here on Xtra 106.3. And we appreciate you being here. 404-741-1230 is the number if you ever want to reach out to us in the morning or the afternoon at Xtra 106.3 across the platforms for Rhino and Los. Also, Goey, Virgin River, the captain. My name is Tug. Y'all come back now, you hear?
So long, gay boys.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Xtra 106.3. Hey, it's a camera. How's it going? Here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
If you want people to have more pie, bake a bigger pie. Don't take the pie that's already there and start taking pieces away from other people and redistributing them. How do you bake a bigger pie? With a growing free market economy.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Xtra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Xtra 106.3 app.